You're watching ESPN College Football Primetime, presented by Hampton Hotels. What a beautiful sight for a college football game. Husky Stadium opened in 1920, now seats 72,500 people. Good evening, everybody. Mike Patrick, Todd Blackledge. It's great to have you with us. If you are a Husky fan, things haven't been going so well. You're coming off of a heartbreaking and controversial loss a week ago. Your defense is struggling. You're facing one of the great offenses in the country. Your number one running back is headed for surgery, and it's so bad your mascot, the Husky, hurt himself chasing a squirrel. He won't be here tonight. He'll be home watching it on television. And oh, by the way, Oklahoma is a potentially great opponent.
Is that mascot out 3 to 4 weeks? Is that what it is?
Yes.
You're right about Oklahoma. Offensively, they are outstanding. I mean, in their first 2 games, they've averaged over 540 yards a game. They've scored over 50 in both games. They have it all. I mean, you look up front where it all starts with an offense. They've got a big physical offensive line that's 4 seniors and a junior. Then they've got a wealth of talent and depth at all the skilled positions. They can move guys in a lot of different spots, and it's all run by a sophomore quarterback who is mature beyond his years, who's an outstanding decision maker, knows how to distribute the football. If this offense keeps going and developing the way they are right now, when the season's over, they'll be one of the very best in all of college football.
They certainly will. The people around here were asking, when could it happen that Washington could turn the corner? It could have happened last week as they played Brigham Young, a very, very good football team, but it didn't. It came down to the end of the ball game, and the great Jake Locker, down by a touchdown with 2 seconds to go, made a brilliant run, but when he got up, he flipped the football in the air. The officials made a very controversial call, flagged him for an excessive celebration, 15 yards. That set the extra point back. As far as you can see right there, it was blocked. They lose the ball game. It just had to tear the Huskies' heart out. So people are asking, how do you go on from there?
Yeah, well, you just have to. I mean, no amount of complaining or bickering is going to change the outcome. You're 0-2, and when you put the film of your next opponent on and see Oklahoma, it brings you back to reality right away. And I think they just have to follow the lead of their leader, Jake Locker. He's the sophomore quarterback. He was the one that made the mistake. Nobody feels worse about it than him, but he's ready to put it behind him and move ahead, and the rest of the team needs to follow that lead.
2 minutes away here in beautiful Seattle, Oklahoma and Washington. The kickoff is next. Coverage against Cincinnati was awful. They gave up returns of 51, 63, and 97. This is Jordan Polk trying to get to the outside, and this will not be a big one. He's down at the 18. Holly Rowe works the sidelines for us. Let's check in with her.
Well, Mike, Jake Locker of Washington accounts for 74% of his team's offense. And against this big, physical, fast, aggressive Oklahoma defense, he can't be expected to do it all alone. Their offensive coordinator told me that they have got to have their young receivers defeat bump and run coverage. He's expecting Oklahoma to load up the box to account for Locker. And 6 of these guys, 5 are freshmen, 1's a sophomore. These guys have to grow up quick tonight.
All right, Holly, he has already found his best receiver, DeAndre Goodwin, number 11. It's been the guy he has gone to most frequently so far. This pass for about 4 yards complete to Alvin Logan. You can see the lineups at the top of your screen for both ball clubs.
Now, this game is all about one-on-one matchups for the Washington offense. It starts inside. Those 5 offensive linemen blocking this talented defensive front of Oklahoma, and then you move outside, like Holly said, and these wide receivers having to defeat single coverage most of the night.
It is an enormous offensive line for Washington. Freeman on the carry, and he is stacked up the middle linebacker Ryan Reynolds and Austin English, who has a chance to be an all-conference defensive end. We're in on the tackle. English missed a lot of camp with an appendectomy, but he's healthy now and ready to go.
This is the area now. 3rd down and long, a pass situation. I want to see how Oklahoma defends Jake Locker. Do they try to pressure him and play man-to-man, leaving some running lanes for the scramble, or not? Here they come.
Show blitz back out. Now they come. Locker trying to roll away from that pressure and throws on the run, intended for Goodwin. Looked like the ball got on him before he expected it, and 3 and out for Washington.
Jake Locker has a very strong arm. And that time the ball just took off and sailed on him a little bit. When you're rolling out, your body momentum is going to add a little extra zip to the ball. You don't have to try to ump it in there. And that time Jake, obviously adrenaline early in the ball game, that ball just took off on him.
Yeah, that was whistling when it got there.
Yes, sir.
Ballman will punt, and Dominique Franks is deep. Short kick, he says get away. Goes across midfield, but not by much. After a 30-yard kick, Oklahoma will have tremendous starting position. Sam Bradford, an exceptional pocket quarterback. He led the nation in pass efficiency a year ago. He's off to a wonderful start this year. Last week against Cincinnati, set several career marks and threw for 5, count them, 5 touchdown passes.
And what you'll see out of Oklahoma is an up-tempo style. Kevin Wilson, offensive coordinator, says it's like fast break basketball. No huddle, put the pedal to the metal.
DeMarco Murray is the tailback, and he gets the first carry. This is a defense for Washington that has been shredded to the tune of almost 500 yards a game so far.
They have a new system, new defensive coordinator Ed Donatel, spent 12 of the last 13 years in the NFL. First year here with Tyrone Willingham, and he's got a lot of young players out there trying to just hang on right now.
They switch tailback, or check it. DeMarco Murray will get this carry. They'll play 3 different guys, Murray, Brown, and M.Madu.
And see, you see right now, no huddle, so the linemen right around the ball. It isn't always a hurry up or a quick count, but they always have that capability. Here's a quick snap. Go before the defense is set.
Now, Washington has a chance to substitute if Oklahoma does. But Oklahoma's a little quicker at this.
Well, and the uniqueness of this Oklahoma offense, they have such depth at their skill positions and versatility with a guy like Gresham, the tight end, who can go out and line up like a wide receiver. Right now, he's outside, number 18. They don't have to substitute to get to different looks.
This carry goes down near the 25-yard line for DeMarco Murray. They've also got Brady Eldridge, who was an all-conference fullback. They're playing him as a second tight end, so he gives them additional versatility.
Between Eldridge and Gresham and DeMarco Murray, who can also line up as a wide receiver, they don't have to substitute, and so they can keep the same defensive personnel on the field for their opponent, and that is a real advantage for this Oklahoma offense right now.
First down, Sooners. Bradford giving him the play, and Chris Brown, number 29, comes in at tailback. Brown gets the carry. Nice hole off the left side. Chris Brown to the 10 and knocked down there. Got a sensational block from Lodeholt and from Gresham. They took him to the left side.
Just a stretch play, and also Brody Eldridge, number 83, leading out there. And this is an outstanding offensive line and 2 tight ends that both block extremely well.
Emmanuel Johnson, who's 6 feet 183, was throwing a tremendous block downfield. He's one of the slot guys, and they have some terrific skill position players. Foster and Tio Nessheim were in on that last tackle. And Tyrone Willingham has just got to hope his defense can buck up and only allow a field goal on this opening possession. They bring a 5-man rush. Bradford with tremendous protection. Throws, it's incomplete. It was intended for Johnson, but Mezfin Forrester covered the post very, very well.
He really did. I mean, he was in single coverage out there. Washington tried to come with a little pressure. Watch right in the middle of your screen, coming from the left, the post route to the back of the end zone, and Forrester does a nice job of getting his hand on the football, and now 3rd and 10 for the Sooners. So you see all the skill guys looking to the sideline. They are signaling the plays from the sideline after they see Washington's initial defensive setup.
Then Bradford tells the offensive line, and everybody's ready to go. Another blitz coming. Bradford gets it off, complete, touchdown. J.Iglesias. The little slant, the perfect throw against the blitz, and you got to hand it to Bradford. He knew he was going to get it right in the chops and hung in there as Donald Butler was coming straight up the gut after him.
Again, this quarterback is mature beyond his years. He's a sophomore. He was the most efficient quarterback in college football last year, and he is even better to start the 2008 season.
Stevens with the point after. Didn't take long for Oklahoma, did it? They're up 7 in Seattle.
Desmond, the doctor will see you now.
It's fruit crepe fever. Sweet cream cheese.
Available in sparkling clear. ESPN HD.
Well, a very workmanlike drive that time for Oklahoma. It started with the short punt. They had great field position after the 3-and-out by their defense, and as they have done already this season, very consistently move the football, running it, throwing it.
Matthew Moreland will kick it away. Jordan Polk and Tripper Johnson are deep. Johnson, the baseball player, 26 years old. Polk will bring it out. Got a block across the 20. And then taken down at the 21. They made it look easy on this touchdown throw.
Well, they read the corner blitz. Right here, there's going to be a corner blitz, and it's a common route. You go, one guy goes to the corner, the other guy goes underneath, and both defenders are going to go with the deep route. And Sam Bradford's going to see it. He's going to see the underneath route open, and right before the pressure got to him, he delivers a football. You got to have some guts as a quarterback to stand in there and make that throw knowing you're going to get hit right in the chin after you let it go. Beautiful work by Sam Bradford.
And it is such a young secondary for Washington. Fake to Freeman. Locker hangs in the pocket. He fires downfield, intended for Goodwin, but he was well covered.
Yeah.
Brian Jackson, the corner, may be the most physical guy in the secondary.
Last week in the loss to BYU, they had a couple opportunities throwing the ball down the field that Jake Locker missed. He has really improved as a passer in the short to intermediate range, but still a little inconsistent throwing the deep ball, and they worked a lot on that this week, early in the week, on the deep passes. That time, just excellent coverage by Brian Jackson.
And the only thing statistically you can complain about with Locker is his completion percentage. They would like to see it a lot higher, but he does so many other things so well. Running the option here with Freeman. Can't get outside. That's the speed of that Oklahoma defense. They can run sideline to sideline, Todd, with anybody.
Yeah, absolutely right. I mean, it's going to be very difficult for Washington to turn the corner on this Oklahoma defense. They are built for speed. And the best way to attack that speed is either to go straight at it or to misdirect it a little bit, to get it flowing one way and come back the other way. But if you just try to stretch it and get outside of them, you're going to have a you better pack a big lunch in a lunchbox, because you're not going to have much success doing that against this bunch on the field.
Guy who made the last tackle, Keenan Clayton, used to be a safety. They moved him up to strong side linebacker at 220. Here they want a screen, and Locker throws it too high. They had it pretty well set up, and Locker was too high for Freeman. So it's another 3-and-out for Washington. Tyrone Willingham now in his 4th year of a 5-year contract. A lot of speculation. Will he be around for the 5th year? He said he's making it simple for people. He knows he's got to win, and that's the bottom line in college football. No matter what else you do, that's the bottom line.
Well, they can't afford to have short punts either. They got a little bounce here, but they've got to try to make Oklahoma work on as long a field as they possibly can until Jake Locker can get something going offensively. Long day for the Washington defense.
That was a 49-yard kick, but 20 of it was on the ground.
What would you do if I sang out of tune? Would you stand? We love having you here.
Ah, welcome, Brooke Shields. What's on your mind?
Well, there's an epidemic sweeping our nation.
Really?
Women everywhere are having babies just to get the new Volkswagen Routan.
Take this couple. Christine here is so seduced by German engineering, she's having a baby just to get it.
That's not why we're having a baby.
The strange man she barely knows.
I'm her husband.
Don't be like Christine. Have a baby for love, not for German engineering.
Lady, we're standing right here.
Learn what I'm doing to help at routanboom.org.
We should have seen this coming.
The Arby's Rescue Brigade trains for the 99-cent barbecue deal.
Brigade, the RBQ is back, and it's available for just 99 cents. Arby's classic oven-roasted beef smothered in tangy barbecue sauce. And at just 99 cents, there's no better time to try one. You growing a mustache, Tuppy? I like it.
Arby's is saving the world from ordinary fast food with the return of barbecue. Get yours for just 99 cents and try our delicious new orange cream swirl shake. It'll have you saying, I'm thinking Arby's.
ESPN's College Football Primetime is presented by Hampton Hotels. At Hampton, we love having you here. And in part by Volkswagen. Das Auto. It's what the people want.
A revealing early statistic so far. Oklahoma has 7 points. Washington has 1 yard. Murray is the running back beside Bradford. Flanker screen. This is Broyles, the young freshman with so much talent.
Broyles had a breakout game last week. 7 catches, 141 yards, the best ever in a first game for a receiver from Oklahoma. But it was one of those deals. He had to wait 15 games, missed the first 15 games of his career. But when he played, he did everything people expected him to do.
He's been kept out by disciplinary issues, missed all of 2007 because he stole some gas before the opener last year, suspended for the entire season. But he is a talented kid. Murray cuts outside across the 40 out to the 41. Williams makes the tackle, maybe just shy of a first down. As we told you, suspended last year, then missed most of the spring when he got hurt, and suspended for the opener this year on a disciplinary issue. But last week against Cincinnati, how's that for a debut? 7 catches, 141 yards. He is a deep threat. And Washington's defense rises up and they stop the 3rd down play. The carry went to Murray, and the middle linebacker, Donald Butler, who was playing hurt, made a big play.
And Tyrone Willingham said, we need to have some good things happen to us early. That is a huge thing for the Washington football team. Their defense, 3rd down and 1, they get penetration, they force the punt, and they stop this Oklahoma offense. That could go a long way for the Huskies.
Mike Nall will come on to punt to DeAndre Goodwin, who waits back at his 10. Low snap, no rush. Got a beautiful kick out of there. Nall lets it go, and that will come out to the 20-yard line. 60-yard kick. This week, Monday Night Football brings you the NFC East early season showdown. Donovan McNabb and the Eagles against Tony Romo and the Dallas Cowboys. Monday Night Football on ESPN at 8:30. Our coverage starts at 7 Eastern with Monday Night Countdown delivered by UPS. Boy, some real surprises in the first week in the NFL. And Philadelphia looked tough. You expected Dallas to look good, but the Eagles surprisingly good. Paul Homer, number 30, the fullback, is in the backfield. Quarterback draw. Locker drilled as he got to the 23-yard line. I mean, he just got ripped by Travis Lewis, a kid who was a high school running back who was 3rd string. And watch this hit. Ouch.
He just really emerged this summer. I mean, they expected Austin Box to be the starter at that outside linebacker position. He injured a knee and missed a couple weeks. And they had a junior college transfer they thought would step in. And all of a sudden, Travis Lewis not only starting, leading the team in tackles as well.
He has been a wonderful surprise for them. Locker gets a little swing out there to Freeman, but Freeman can't get past the 25-yard line. And how about those impact players on the Oklahoma defense, Todd?
Well, they've got a lot of them. If you start up front, Jeremy Beal, one of their defensive ends, a high motor guy, 2.5 sacks on the year. Gerald McCoy inside at the tackle, very explosive, disruptive. And then the guy we just mentioned, Travis Lewis, starting as the outside linebacker, leading the team right now with 18 total tackles. But a guy who can run, and that's, you could say that about anybody on this Oklahoma defense. They can flat out run.
3rd and 4. Washington still looking for its first down of the ball game. Locker, low snap. Throws out in the flat, and he hit Goodwin in stride. DeAndre Goodwin for a first down. A gain of 16 yards.
Now, this is a little tricky play. It looks like they're trying to throw a wide receiver screen, but they're setting up the Oklahoma defense, and they actually throw a little wheel route on the outside off of the screen fake. A well-designed play, probably one you only get away with once in a game, but it came in a very timely situation for the Huskies. First down.
4 wide receivers. Freeman is the single setback. Locker is a danger to take off on any play. Another low snap. Locker goes back, throws to Freeman, incomplete, and Freeman is knocked down by the corner Brian Jackson. These teams have been wolfing at each other, and now there's a flag down very late.
Well, the low snap by Garcia busted up the timing of that play. Jake Locker picked it up and had to kind of hurry the throw and made a high, poor throw to Freeman. It was not a catchable pass.
Personal foul, number 2 on the defense. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Brian Jackson is called for the penalty. Here's what happened when Washington came out of the tunnel and Oklahoma was blocking it and going in. We got a little pushing and shoving.
Well, I don't know why the stadium has both teams going in the same tunnel. That's not a great situation no matter who you're playing. But cooler heads prevailed ultimately.
So they're at the 44, and there have been a couple little shoving matches before this started. And in Oklahoma, you can see just how much quicker they are than that huge Washington offensive line. I mean, size is great, but speed also, you know, that's a huge factor for that defense.
Really, quite honestly, I think the only guy who has a chance to turn the corner against this Oklahoma defense is the quarterback, Jake Locker, on a scramble type situation. If he gets him running one way, I mean, he has the kind of speed that could possibly do that. I'm not sure any of the guys that will line up at tailback have the kind of speed to get around this defense.
Well, Freeman has 3 carries so far. He's lost a yard, lost 2, and lost 2. I think if you're going to run, you better run straight ahead against Oklahoma. The blitz coming against Locker. He throws out to the flat, complete to Jermaine Kearse. And there is one Bob Stoops who has elevated his coaching skills to the top of the NCAA ladder, his 10th year. He is getting ready to win his 100th game, at least heavily favored to do so today. It will come shortly no matter what. And he would join 3 coaching legends at Oklahoma with 100 victories.
He's had a birthday this week, turned 48 on Tuesday. Done a great job in Norman.
A lot of success for a guy who's only 48. Locker, good protection this time, throws too high for Kearse. And you can see the strength of Locker's arm. Boy, he's got a gun.
Well, that's a long throw, though. They're on the left hash. He's throwing it to the right sideline. I mean, yeah, you see the strength of the arm, but that's a hard one to be accurate on because the ball's in the air a long time. A lot of pressure from Oklahoma is coming from outside. They're bringing corners or guys off the slot, trying to get pressure where Jake Locker isn't going to see it as easily as pressure coming inside.
Ballman wants to try to pin him deep. Dominique Franks waits at the 10. Good kick by Bowman this time, and it will be downed inside the 5. Good job by Chris Stevens, a backup linebacker. Got great position, knocked the ball out of bounds at the 3.
The Eagles take on the Cowboys at 8:30 on ESPN Monday Night Football.
I'm giving a shout out to my Oklahoma Sooners. You guys are doing a great job. Coach Stoops, the guys are looking real nice. And Lewis, I want to tell you, number 28, that's the way you represent. You represent that number.
And Adrian, he's doing a good job too. 19 tackles and 2 sacks already. Crowd is really letting the Oklahoma offense.
Look at Sam Bradford, though, the poise, going down the line to each lineman to get the signal.
Out across the 10, D.Murray out of Las Vegas. Tackled by Quentin Richardson. Let's check in with Holly Rowe.
Well, guys, this is a huge test for this defense today for Washington. They've been decimated by injury. They're starting strong safety Darren Harris out after a scary hit that left him with a concussion last week. His backup is a true freshman that was a running back last week. They have to acclimate quickly.
Holly, there goes Murray again. They are 113th in the country in total defense. And keep in mind, there's only 119 teams.
Well, and a little bit of fairness to them. They've got a lot of young guys, number 1. They've got a new system, number 2. And number 3, the 3 offenses that they have played this year, Oregon, BYU, and Oklahoma now, are very good offensive football teams.
First down, Oklahoma, as they move out of the shadow of their own goalpost to the 19-yard line. Murray. Not much resistance at the first level, Todd. He's not getting touched until he gets to the linebackers.
The thing that I saw when I watched Oklahoma on tape, watch the offensive line, how well they move their feet. I mean, this is an offensive line and tight ends that really move their feet. They're athletic guys. They're big, several 300-pounders, but they move their feet. They're not sloppy. They're not heavy-footed looking guys. They run that zone blocking scheme, and they move their feet extremely well.
Chris Brown comes in as the running back. It's another first down. Blitz coming. Quick throw to the outside. This one's complete to Iglesias, who caught the touchdown pass. And when you have seniors up front, look at all those starts. 121 for these guys. They know what they're doing. They understand the system, and you can count on these guys.
Kevin Wilson told us of all those guys, the junior might be the most talented of all of them. The right tackle, Trent Williams. This is an offense that really has all the parts right now. I mean, they've got that offensive line. They've got skill guys that can move in different spots, and they've got a quarterback who makes good decisions, who doesn't care who he throws to. He doesn't care who gets the glory. I mean, they've got everything you want in a championship level offense right now.
The one thing they were lacking was until last week when Broyles came back, and that was the deep speed from a wide receiver, and he completed the package. And right now they're showing you they don't need to throw the ball. They can run it. Against a very young defensive line.
Drive started inside the 2-yard line after the great punt, and they just have kind of bowled their way out to midfield.
Good tackle this time as Cameron Elisara came across from the defensive tackle, the young man out of Spokane, only a sophomore.
And you see with the substitution by Oklahoma on this 3rd down play, Washington able to sub a couple guys, get some fresh legs in to try to put some pressure on Sam Bradford. 3rd and 5.
DeMarco Murray back in at tailback. 3 wide receivers. Five-man rush. They don't get there. Bradford throws incomplete. That time he was looking for Gresham. And I don't think Gresham got his head around in time.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. He got tangled up with the coverage a little bit, didn't get out of his break. Bradford threw expecting Gresham to break outside, and another stop for the Husky defense. They didn't stop him down inside the 10 like they would have liked to, but they got a stop nonetheless.
Null will kick to Goodwin. And even though they came from the 3 to the 47, pretty good job by the maligned Washington defense.
Yes.
Big rush. They don't get there, but there is a flag down. Now there's another one as they ran into the kicker. We'll check out both penalties. 43-yard kick, a loss of 2 on the return, and Null a little slow coming off.
I think it was Luke Kravitz, number 32, that rolled in, actually leg whipped the punter.
Illegal formation by the offense. Personal foul, roughing the kicker by the defense. Those penalties offset. Replay 4th down.
That's a big break for the Huskies.
It is.
They could not have afforded to give the ball back to Oklahoma here after they got this stop by their defense. So they got away with one there because of the illegal formation. Not enough men on the line of scrimmage for Oklahoma. And a break for the Huskies.
So they'll do it all over again, and Null, who was a little slow coming off, has to come back on to punt for the second time.
He got hit pretty hard.
He did.
He got leg whipped by Kravitz.
Got it out of there pretty well this time. Down to the 5 and just into the end zone. A 52-yard kick, but a net of only 32. Here's tonight's Good Hands flashback presented by Allstate. The 85 Orange Bowl in Miami. Tied at 14 in the 4th quarter. Oklahoma kicks a field goal to give the Sooners the lead. But there's a penalty on the play when the Sooner schooner came onto the field prematurely. There were 20 yards in penalties assessed. The re-kick was blocked, and Washington would end up winning the game 28-17.
Yeah. And that was a game, if Oklahoma wins, they probably win the national championship. And as it turned out, an undefeated BYU team won it.
Didn't know Barry Switzer could turn that shade of red. He matched the uniform colors, crimson. David Freeman with a good carry to the outside, and the free safety Lendy Holmes had to come up to make the tackle. Well, after that initial burst when Oklahoma scored so quickly and so easily, Washington has gotten more of a flow in this game.
Well, defensively, they've kind of settled into the game a little bit. Offensively, still looking for a big play. Jake Locker's been pretty quiet so far. He's not really taken off and run the football. Oklahoma has done a pretty nice job of keeping him in their sights so far.
Hurst, Goodwin, and Aguilar are the running backs.
There we go.
Or the wide receivers. There's Locker, lost the ball. Jake Locker with a terrific game, but the ball came loose. And now pushing and shoving after the fact. That's about the 5th time both of these teams really hyped up.
Well, Jake Locker, this is a called quarterback draw, and he is an outstanding runner. And he lowers his shoulder, but look, right there, the ball is ripped out by Brian Jackson, the cornerback. And that's what you teach guys to do. If one guy's got him held up, the second guy comes and tries to rip the football out, and that's exactly what Brian Jackson did.
That was textbook.
Yep.
Ripped it out and then went and got it.
Jake Locker, when he runs, he does not run like a quarterback. He runs like a running back. He protects the ball, he lowers his shoulder, and he fights for extra yardage. And when you get a guy doing like that, that's what you teach your defenders to do. If one guy's got him held up, the other guy come and try to strip the ball out.
So the turnover gives Oklahoma the ball in Washington territory. And the officials step in and won't let them run this play. Are they going to review this?
The ruling on the field is being challenged by Washington.
Willingham throws his challenge flag, and I don't know what they saw that would lead them to believe that a challenge might work, unless they're saying they thought Locker's knee was down. Nope.
Nope. The ball is out before his knee hits the ground. That was a beautiful play by Brian Jackson.
Now that, to me, is a real mistake. That's a waste of your challenge.
Yeah.
Early in the ball game on a play that didn't look that close.
Yeah, I'm not sure what he might have heard from upstairs. Somebody telling him, one of the coaches in the box,
right,
hey, he looked like his knee was down, but from the angles that we had, it clearly was not down.
After review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. Fumble. That is a charge timeout to Washington. 30-second timeout.
So obviously somebody upstairs thought they saw something, but equally as obviously they did not. Let's check in with Reese.
All right, guys, we'll look at what's going on in all the family of networks right now. Over on ESPN2, Auburn and Mississippi State are locked in a defensive struggle. Game just underway in the Coliseum. Ohio State and USC. USC kicked off. Ohio State was knocked down at the 10. So bad field position to start the day for the Buckeyes, and it looks as if USC has forced a 3-and-out on the initial possession for Ohio State. That game just getting started. Auburn and Mississippi State about to go to halftime on ESPN2.
Reese, thank you so much. So Oklahoma gets to start at the Washington 47. This time out of the eye, Chris Brown, a huge hole. Brown, 30. To the 22-yard line before he is spun down by Jory Fulgerson, the freshman who was starting at safety. It's a gain of 25.
Well, I think Oklahoma got away with a little one there because Gresham, the tight end, moved a little prematurely. They didn't call it. He got an excellent block, as did the fullback, Brody Eldridge, number 83, and a big play for the Sooners.
On the run, the throw to the end zone, touchdown Gresham. A perfect strike to the tight end in stride. And if there is anything that Gresham is great at, it's scoring touchdowns. He had a tight end school record a year ago with 11.
And that shows you the uniqueness of this Oklahoma offense from a personnel standpoint. The play before, Gresham lines up with his hand on the ground. A tight end gets a big-time block. The next play, they put him on the other side of the formation in a slot like a wide receiver, and he runs a one-on-one route to the end zone and beats a defensive back for the touchdown. I mean, that is versatility at its finest.
He is from Ardmore, Oklahoma, just one of the weapons on an offense that so far this year is averaging 54.5 yards or 54.5 points a game, and the extra point by Stevens is missed. Third touchdown this year for Gresham.
Look at the touchdown again. The play before, he was blocking on the right. They go hurry up, and he goes to the other side of the formation. Now he's in the slot, and he's going to run a corner route, and this is the guy covering him, the safety. And you see he's a little bit late getting in position, and by the time the ball snapped, he's already beat. He's inside of him. It's an outside route, and Sam Bradford, very accurate on the move, puts it right for Gresham.
Kind of targets you quarterbacks love. He is 6'6". He's huge.
Yeah.
And he can run. So the turnover produces a touchdown and really hurts Washington because they had stabilized everything. Moreland to kick to Polk and Johnson. Polk's the guy they want to have the ball in his hands because he's got the speed. He'll take it just inside the 10. Has the seam. To the races and just caught around the back of the jersey. Desmond Jackson saved the touchdown.
You know, if he has a jersey that's tucked in and snug fitting, that's a touchdown.
Yes, sir.
The jersey's a little bit loose on the back, and they're able to just grab it, because if they don't grab it, he is gone. The Oregon 100-meter sprint champion a year ago, great speed, and just gets dragged down from behind by Desmond Jackson.
And this is what hurt Oklahoma a week ago. They gave up kickoff returns of 51, 63, and 97. They said they weren't too concerned about it because the guys were there in position to make tackles. They just didn't make the plays, and they thought they had worked on it well enough all week so it wouldn't happen again, but they just gave up a big one here. And Jordan Polk, good to see he's up on his feet.
Well, that part's not good to see.
No, he needs some help to get off.
Marty Gilliard from Cincinnati is the guy that had the big game last week for the Bearcats.
He's pretty good, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. He had 7 catches for 119 yards receiving as well. So he had a huge game against this Oklahoma defense and the special teams.
All right, let's see if Washington can do anything with this great field position, starting at its own 47-yard line. Locker will give it off to Freeman, and just as he had before, Freeman can't get out of the backfield because there's a team picture of the defense standing in front of him.
And DeMarcus Granger, number 96, did a great job. Got penetration into the backfield, forced the play to bump outside. And again, you look at this Oklahoma defense. Up front, they are really solid. They've got some questions, some young guys, some new guys playing in the secondary, a couple new guys playing at outside linebacker. But up front, they are very stout.
On 4 of his carries, Freeman has not been able to get back even to the line of scrimmage. Hasn't had a chance. Locker throws underneath. That's going to be complete to Freeman, but only for about 4 yards. And the first quarter is going to come to an end here at Husky Stadium. The favored Sooners up by 13.
Three things not to do at a wedding.
Don't get in any trouble.
One more bite.
Oh my God, she's never gonna forgive you for this.
Hello? Yeah, I can talk. My Best Friend's Girl. Rated R. In theaters Friday.
Welcome, Brooke Shields. What's on your mind?
Well, there's an epidemic sweeping our nation.
Really?
Women everywhere are having babies just to get the new Volkswagen Routan.
Take this couple. Christine here is so seduced by German engineering, she's having a baby just to get it.
That's not why we're having a baby.
With a strange man she barely knows.
I'm her husband.
Don't be like Christine. Have a baby for love, not for German engineering.
Lady, we're standing right here.
Learn what I'm doing to help at routanboom.org.
We should have seen this coming.
One more time. I was eating, and then I reached in my pocket and found all this extra money. Reverse pickpocketed. Yeah. Description?
Yeah, reverse pickpocket.
That's him.
Right there?
It's down there. Yeah, sure.
Excuse me. Beware, this man could put extra money in your pocket.
Grab a new BK wrapper morning, noon, and night. The King's got all-day value, all wrapped up.
Whatever the season, when a storm gathers, so do we. The State Farm Catastrophe Team. A full-time force of 2,500 people whose only mission is to be there in times of crisis. Working with local State Farm agents to bring help and hope to more people than any other company. And we'll be there for you, too.
Dating is a contact sport.
Are you okay?
This Friday, someone's going down.
Please stop. Please stop.
Kate Hudson.
Makes me a little emotional.
Dane Cook.
Yeah, I can talk.
Jason Biggs. My Best Friend's Girl. Rated R. In theaters Friday.
N is for New Hampshire. N is for needing to get off on the right foot at the #1 race in the chase for the Sprint Cup. N is for never letting up. No way, no chance, no how. The chase begins in New Hampshire tomorrow at 1 Eastern on ABC.
Beautiful Seattle, Washington. #3 Oklahoma trying to remain undefeated. Washington looking for that first victory. And Bob Stoops trying to be the 4th Oklahoma coach ever to win 100 games. It would be the only school where it has ever happened. Locker in the shotgun. Another low snap. Throws underneath, and wide open is Aguilar. Devin Aguilar gains 21. And the first time anybody has been open by that stretch in the secondary.
Zone defense this time by Oklahoma. Low snap fielded by Locker, and he does a nice job stepping up in the pocket and finding the open receiver. Aguilar comes right in between. A three-man route on that side, and a nice read by Jake Locker.
Juan Garcia is the center. We got to talk to him the other day. One of the most charming guys you would ever run into in a college football uniform. 6'3", 305 out of Yakima, who has survived one injury after another to play at this level. Locker, and boy, are they laying in wait for any time Locker takes off. Here's Holland.
Well, guys, it's nothing short of a miracle that Juan Garcia is even playing in this game today. The spring game, he said 5 doctors surrounded him and said he should probably have surgery to repair a Liz Frank fracture in his foot. It's where all the ligaments are torn and the foot sinks in. He's done every type of rehab he could. He said the only guy who believed in me was Rob Scheidegger, my trainer. They actually had Nike make a special protective cleat for him. He also has an orthoplasty mold taped over the top of it. This guy's given it all because he said, I don't want to have any regrets this year.
Boy, and he shouldn't. He has played very, very well, shown a lot of guts. Locker under pressure, and down he goes. Gerald McCoy just ran him down. This young man has a tremendous future. Let's check in with Reese Davis.
All right, Mike, Sports Center right now, and the latest on the Ravens-Texans game. It was originally moved to Monday night at Reliant Stadium because of Hurricane Ike, but the stadium suffered damage. They had to move several games around. It is now going to be played November 9th. Next Sports Center after the game, stay current, ESPN News.
Boy, Reese, it must have really taken a pounding. They said there are certain parts of that roof that are just gone. And our thoughts and prayers go out to everybody in that area. If they're all right with that hurricane. Here comes pressure. Locker trying to sprint out. Now throws and completes down to the 30 to Aguilar. Heads up play by Locker, but it's short of a first down.
And heads up play by the Oklahoma defense, too. I thought Locker was just going to take that one and run. 2 years ago, these two teams played in Norman. And at that time, the quarterback for Washington was Isaiah Stanback, who was a runner and not very much of a thrower. And whenever he would start to scramble, it was run all the way. So the coaching point for that game was attack the quarterback when he runs. Jake Locker, the coaching point, he'll still look to throw. Stick with your man.
This would be a 47-yard field goal try, and it is wide. Jared Ballman tries from 47, and they still can't get on the board.
Going to the game this weekend, Jim?
Well, Jerry, for more on that, let's throw it over to the Hampton Hotel where my wife Tracy is checked in. Trace, what's the mood over there?
In a word, Jim, electric. Comfy beds, complimentary hot breakfast, and friendly service.
Trace, what's that noise I hear?
Wow, I wish you listened this well at home, Jim.
She's kidding.
I'm not. It's college football, honey.
Well, there you have it, folks. And Trace, I'll see you in a few hours. Back to you, Jerry.
Thank you.
Right.
Introducing Taco Bell's new 89-cent Volcano Taco. With spicy lava sauce, it could be the spiciest taco ever.
Wait, my Volcano Taco.
Don't look at me.
Why pay more for heat when you can think outside the bun?
ESPN360.com, your online home for live college football. Catch out-of-market and exclusive matchups wherever you are. Watch more than 300 games live or replay any great moments you've missed. Log on to ESPN360.com.
My name is Enoch Wilson. I'm a pancreation fighter from Tigard, Oregon. My name is Mike Pierce. I'm a wrestler fighting out of Gresham, Oregon. Why do we fight in the ring? Is it for the passion and the timelessness of the sport? Maybe it's the violence or brutality. Or is it the dedication and the strength? Or ruthlessness and barbaric nature of the sport? You decide. Come out to the Rose Garden Friday, September 19th at 7 p.m. and you be the judge. Visit sportfight.tv for more information. Sport Fight, the ultimate evolution of one-on-one combat.
There's never been a better time to switch and save with Hyundai. Switch your MPG from 14 to 33 and you'll save up to $200 a month just in gas. Switch and save with the 33 MPG Hyundai Accent and Hyundai Elantra. Switch to the 09 Sonata and save with better gas mileage than Accord and Camry. Switch to America's best warranty and save with 10-year, 100,000-mile protection. Switch right now and save up to $2,500 cash back on Hyundai sedans. Switch and save now at your Pacific Northwest Hyundai dealers. These offers end soon.
Let's take a look at tonight's trivia question. What two former Washington head coaches were teammates at Oklahoma under Bud Wilkinson? That's a tough one, and my partner answered it this morning in our production meeting. Being the wise guy that he is.
Yeah. A wise, well-read guy.
So the Sooners will have it at their own 30, and Polk, keeping those legs warm. He was shaken earlier in the ball game. Looks all right now. Bradford, empty backfield. Been very successful in this set. Blitz coming. Bradford hangs in there, throws underneath, complete. Broken tackle by Gresham, the tight end, and picks up enough yardage for a first down. Bradford, the sensational sophomore talent out of Oklahoma City. His dad was a lineman at Oklahoma. He's actually a citizen of the Cherokee tribe and set all sorts of records for a freshman last year. 36 touchdown passes and led the nation in passing efficiency. There's his father, Kent, who was a lineman.
Well, I really like this quarterback. I mean, when I've watched him on film, the stuff that I really like about him, his poise, his composure. You know, he doesn't look flustered. He doesn't look rattled. You see him communicating well on the road here in a very loud stadium. His balance and his accuracy.
The red zone alert on your screen for the Ohio State USC game if you want to check that out. Murray knocked out of bounds as he reached the Washington 42-yard line. That'll be a first down for the 205-pound sophomore out of Las Vegas.
Sam Bradford, when we talked to him on the phone this week, really credited his quarterback coach, Josh Heupel, for doing a lot to improve him mechanically, fundamentally as a quarterback, reading defenses. Really credits his coach for his development.
Blitz coming from behind. Bradford unloads, and it was that pressure that made the ball go awry. Let's check in with Holly for more on Sam Bradford.
Well, Todd, you're right. You know, Sam Bradford told us on the phone that the thing he thinks he's improved the most this year is his footwork. He said every single day throughout the summer I did something. If you could do something for feet, I did it. Jump rope, do ladders, jump over bags. He said, I feel like that's where I'm the best, and Bob Stoops agrees. He said he is the very best I've seen at throwing on the run. We already see him score a touchdown doing just that today.
He's very accurate, whether he rolls left or right. He keeps his feet up under him extremely well, no matter where he throws the football from.
Four-man rush this time. Bradford hangs in the pocket and throws the perfect strike to Manuel Johnson, his favorite slot receiver, who had 14 catches in 2 games coming into this one.
I thought one of the other interesting things that Bob Stoops said about Sam Bradford, you may not think he's a great athlete, but if you had a pickup basketball game out of our players, he'd be one of the first 3 guys that guys would pick, and not just because he's a spot-up shooter. Very athletic guy.
Brown to the 25, maybe the 24-yard line. Macon Foster caught him from behind, the leading tackler for this ball club. A lot of California players on this club. Mason Foster out of Seaside, California. Bradford, very calm, throws underneath Iglesias. Inside the 10, inside the 5. Hit from behind by the defensive tackle, Cameron Elisaro.
Well, what Sam Bradford does on this one, it's a bootleg and it's a rollout left. But if they have contained and you can't get all the way outside, you must pull up. And that's what Bradford does. He pulls up underneath the rush and stays right in there and makes a throw under heat again.
I mean, for a sophomore, he is just so cool. Murray pounds straight ahead, close. No signal yet. And it looks like he is only inches away. Second and goal, Washington changing personnel.
The thing I like about Oklahoma's version of the spread offense is that it's not pure shotgun. They can get under center and still run power football and do all the other stuff they do out of the spread as well.
Washington may have jumped offside. The ball is loose.
See, I don't know if Washington jumped off sides or if the center didn't snap the ball. But there was movement, and I'm not sure the ball was snapped on time, and the ball became loose.
Alameda Ta'amo was the guy in there messing up the timing of the play, but check the penalty. And it was encroachment by the defense.
Yeah, he did. Tried to time it up, got in there a little too soon.
Bradford, the quarterback, leaning in. And there's the touchdown. Bradford was never stopped, so he just held the ball over the goal line, and it's a touchdown.
Well, again, that big offensive line for Oklahoma just kind of imposing their will on this Washington defense in this drive, and Sam Bradford gets the easy touchdown.
That's the only place I disagree with a quick whistle. Obviously, his momentum was stopped, and he wasn't going to go anywhere. All he did was hold the ball out of the goal line and got a touchdown out of it. The point after for Stevens is good. And Oklahoma extends its advantage to 20-0 after a 70-yard drive.
Introducing the all-new Nissan Maxima. It has an award-winning 290 horsepower V6 engine, an intelligent CVT transmission, and a masterfully crafted interior designed around the driver. The breathtaking Nissan Maxima, the four-door sports car. Lease a new 2009 Nissan Maxima for $339 a month for 39 months.
I don't know, maybe you should have been the blonde. Maybe.
Oklahoma's defense has really made an impression here in the first half. They gave up 26 points last week, really only 20, and one was late at the very end of the game. But they look outstanding so far today against this Husky offense.
Tripper Johnson from the 10, the former minor league baseball player for several years, up over the 20. Let's check in with Reese Davis.
All right, Mike, we're going to get you up to date on Ohio State USC. First 12 minutes of the game, SC's had the ball for 55 seconds. You can see in this Taco Bell studio update, but the Trojans get tough in the red zone, force Ohio State to kick a field goal. 3-0 Buckeyes late in the first.
All right, thanks, Reese. Washington needs something good to happen on offense. They're at their own 22. Locker goes to the shotgun. Hands it off. Freeman with a big hole. First time you see running room all day long, and Freeman up to the 45. He must have been stunned to see that hole.
Well, this is your basic zone read play out of the spread. The quarterback's reading that backside end. He doesn't chase the play, so you give the ball off. A nice block by Ben Osai, number 79, the left tackle. Open things up on the backside. And a nice run for the Huskies on first down.
3 reserve defensive linemen in there right now for Brent Venables and that Oklahoma defense. First 5 carries for Freeman. He only got 2 yards. Got 22 on the last run.
A lot of guys in the box right now.
Good play fake by Locker. Downfield almost picked. Boy, 2 guys had a shot at that. Nick Harris had the best chance for an interception.
Now, he made a throw in the BYU game last week like that. Rolling to his right, throwing back towards the middle, and got away with it. But these guys from Oklahoma break on the ball a little bit faster than the DBs from BYU did last week. That's one you just can't get away with.
That back toward the middle phrase is a no-no.
Yeah, absolutely.
Locker with 2 setbacks this time. Freeman and Homer, the fullback. And now Locker will try to get outside. Look at that defense. The way they pursue, Locker never had a chance down at the sidelines in Holly Rowe.
Well, guys, we're seeing a heavy dose of David Freeman, the freshman tailback today, because the highly recruited starter, Chris Polk, was injured last week. He is elected to have surgery, and he will now redshirt for the season. It's interesting, you know, he was so highly recruited. He originally signed with USC, changed his mind. But David Freeman, who's starting today as a freshman for the first time, he wasn't even on the rated services for all the recruiting. You know, all these recruiting services, not even rated. He was so under the radar. The coaches say he's impressed him since day one, and he gets his first start today.
And Holly, they were thrilled to get Polk, because, as you said, he went back and forth in his commitment to USC. Locker chase, they grabbed the back of his helmet, and the flag is down.
Well, they got a break there because, again, excellent pressure by Oklahoma. And I think the Huskies will get a first down out of this, but only by penalty.
Number 22 on the defense, 15 yards from the previous spot, automatic first down.
It's Keenan Clayton, the linebacker, on a blitz.
What Brent Venables is doing to Jake Locker right now is really excellent strategy. Even though they got the penalty there, is they are bringing pressure from different spots every time. They're not bringing pressure every down, but whenever they bring pressure, it's coming from different spots. One time it's a corner, one time it's a safety, one time it's a couple linebackers. They're not giving Jake Locker the same look 2 plays in a row or 2 pressures in a row.
The penalty moves it inside the Oklahoma 45. Here comes another corner blitz. Locker hangs in there, the perfect strike to Goodwin, and Goodwin fumbles the football. Looks like Oklahoma has it, and they do.
Well, we've seen Locker fumble after a good play, and now we see his classmate Goodwin fumble after a good play.
And Brian Jackson has gotten them both.
Going into scoring territory. Nice read by Locker, and Goodwin just fighting for extra yardage, just lost the football. And that one was not stripped out. Goodwin just lost it after the hit by Lendy Holmes. You want to beat a high-ranked opponent that has better personnel than you. You better be great on special teams, and you better win the turnover battle. And right now, Washington not doing either one.
Bradford so far 8 out of 11. They have also run the ball well. C.Brown. And now the answer to tonight's trivia question. What 2 former Washington head coaches were teammates at Oklahoma under Bud Wilkinson? You get to do this, Todd, because you got it right this morning.
Well, it was R.Broyles in 1956. He was at Washington. And Jim Owens, 1957 to 1974. R.Broyles is the one that's kind of tricky. I read that earlier in the week. Was here for 1 year.
Brown again. Shakes the tackle, uses the stiff arm for several more yards. And that's the statue of Coach Owens, who was here from 1957 to 1974. His statue outside this stadium that was opened in 1920, now in its 89th year of hosting Husky football. Gotta love the poise of Sam Bradford.
I do. I absolutely do.
Stands in the pocket. Of course, that protection really helps you have some poise, doesn't it?
It really does. And but the 3 things that stand out to me about Sam Bradford, again, are his poise and his composure, and he's showing that on the road. It's a lot harder to show that on the road than when you're at home. His balance, his footwork, his feet are always under him. He never looks like he's overstriding. And then his accuracy, whether he's in the pocket or throwing on the run, an extremely accurate passer.
Little flanker screen as they got it out in a hurry to Murray, who normally lines up as the tailback, but he split out in the slot that time, trying to get him in space. And the more different plays they run, just the tougher it is for this young Washington defense. And especially at this tempo. Murray back in. A little cut gets to the outside. taken out of bounds at the 30.
You know, when you talk to Bob Stoops about why he wanted Kevin Wilson and the offense to go to this up-tempo, I mean, it's pretty simple. I mean, when you feel like you've got good players like they do, and you've got a lot of weapons and skilled players, the more snaps you get, the more chances you get to make plays on offense. And when you got a quarterback who really can make good decisions and is not going to hurt you with the football, it's kind of a no-brainer. And I love the up-tempo that Oklahoma's playing with right now.
There was a different formation to the left than we had seen so far. And they throw it underneath to C.Brown. Here's Holly.
Well, Kevin Wilson, the offensive coordinator for Oklahoma, has a long background with this spread offense and the no huddle. He did it when he was at Northwestern years ago with the Zach Kustos and the Brett Bazinets. In fact, a young coach from Bowling Green went up and studied them at Northwestern. You might know him, Urban Meyer. This has had a long history.
And it's had tremendous success all over the country. Brown inside the 10 to about the 7. And Iglesias is upset because he missed a block. Trent Williams, the only junior starter on that line, threw a good one inside.
Yeah, he threw a good block. Also, the fullback, Matt Clapp, number 34, did a great job of cutting off the backside end. But this is what I like about Oklahoma's spread, is the ability to go under center and run I-formation power football, as well as go 5 receivers, no backs, and throw out of the shotgun. Their versatility is impressive.
Brown again, picking his way this time to the 5. And you mentioned the versatility before. That's one of the reasons they can run this up-tempo thing, because they've got guys. You mentioned the tight ends before. Right. They can line up at fullback. They can play wide receiver. Yep. We've seen the running backs go out in the slot and be wide receivers. You got that kind of versatility. You can keep the same people on the field.
Yep, absolutely. And again, sometimes the argument against the spread is that you become too finesse-oriented. You don't have power aspects to your running game if you do all just runs out of the shotgun. But this is a power running football team as well as a spread passing team.
Murray, touchdown. There is a marker down.
Illegal shift by the offense, not setting. 5-yard penalty, replay second down.
And their own mistakes are about the only thing that's keeping Oklahoma out of the Washington end zone.
Now again, this Washington defense, they have faced Oregon in the first week, maybe the most explosive offensive team in the Pac-10. A lot of option, misdirection, hide the football, great speed. Then BYU last week, who's got an experienced offensive line and a great quarterback in Max Hall, who put 59 on UCLA today. And now Oklahoma, a combination of both.
They're going to love to face just a normal team one of these days, and not somebody that's an offensive juggernaut. Murray tackled by Houston, but not before he got inside the 5. So Oregon, #1 in the country in offense. BYU 16th, Oklahoma 11th. Oklahoma may go up after this one. And it's no wonder that Washington, with all of its youth, is right near the bottom of the NCAA rankings in defense. Well, they say what doesn't kill you makes you better. Yeah. This is close. Blitz against Bradford, throws for the end zone, too easy. Touchdown. A perfect throw to R.Broyles, who had 2 steps on the defender, and Bradford just laid it in there. Broyles is the weapon who came back a week ago. We've already seen how good he can be.
That was well designed and really well executed by R.Broyles, the young receiver, because he had to pause for a count or two before he released into that route to allow the play to develop, and he didn't rush it, and that's why he was wide open.
Patience is not exactly a hallmark you get in many redshirt freshmen. Point after is good. Bradford has hit 6 straight passes, 12 out of 15 in the first half, 129 yards.
The Eagles take on the Cowboys at 8:30 on ESPN Monday Night Football.
47.
I'm comfortable in jeans that are tough. I'm comfortable in jeans that last. I'm comfortable in Wrangler.
real comfortable.
Wrangler 5-star premium denim jeans. Built tough with long-lasting heavyweight denim. Built comfortable with relaxed fit. Satisfaction guaranteed. Wrangler, real, comfortable jeans.
A work of art, a finely tuned machine, a sanctuary, a command center, a sophisticated sedan, a sports car. Together. Introducing the all-new Nissan Maxima, the four-door sports car. Lease a new 2009 Nissan Maxima for $339 a month for 39 months.
When gas prices went up, the truck prices came down. With gas prices dropping, the trucks will go up. But not in September at Joe's Ford.
F-150 starting at $11,995. 10,000 off remaining 08 Super Duty pickups. All remaining 08 Escapes are 5,000 off.
The linebacker there, Kirk.
What USC is trying to do right now when Todd Beckman comes into the game, I think they feel more of a threat from Ohio State's passing game and their group of receivers. And what they're doing is they're keeping two of their defensive backs, the safeties, back, preventing the ball being thrown downfield and forcing Beckman to dump it underneath, and then they're swarming to make an easy tackle in front of them.
Nick Holt, the defensive coordinator, sets the Trojan D for this 3rd and 6. Fake the inside shuttle, throws high, incomplete. Buckeyes will punt it.
They've had some success with that counter out of the shotgun coming back to Boom Herron because USC's defense moves so quickly. It's a little counter play. A lot of times they've handed it off. This time play action. Brian Cushing lowers to Boom right there on Todd Beckman, but still gets a catchable ball thrown to Brian Hartline, but Josh Pinkard stride for stride.
SPN. The return by Tripper Johnson. Got it out around the 25-yard line.
Well, Sam Bradford today has been everything he was advertised to be. Smooth, efficient, calm, great balance and accuracy throwing out of the pocket or on the move. 12 of 15, 129 yards, 3 touchdowns. That makes 10 on the season. And even Dad has to go with the 2 hands up after what he's done so far in the first half.
I mean, honestly, at times it looks like a practice 7-on-7 drill.
Yeah, just no duress for Sam Bradford. And when there has been pressure, he's hung in there and made tough throws even when he's gotten hit. He has been impressive.
And Washington, barring a miracle, there's another bad snap. Ball knocked loose, and it looks like Oklahoma has it. The last thing Washington needed, but they get it. Austin English, DeMarcus Granger both pounced on it, and Juan Garcia for about the 4th time today. A snap that bounced back to Jake Locker.
Well, these tackles on the inside for Oklahoma, pretty stout. Adrian Taylor, Gerald McCoy, DeMarcus Granger. And the center, Juan Garcia, a little bit too concerned about his block and not taking care of first things first, which is get the ball to your quarterback.
We asked Tyrone Willingham the other day, do you think you've had enough time to turn the corner? Do you think you'll be able to? And he says, well, this might be a yogiism, but you don't turn the corner until you turn the corner. And he's right. And certainly off of this performance, they have not turned the corner in spite of tremendous recruiting classes the last 3 years. Will he get enough time to be able to win with the guys he's recruited? That is the question here in Seattle. There is a timeout with 3:42 to go in the first half, and the Sooners are on top of this ball game and have really quieted this crowd with 27 first half points. We'll be back to see if Washington can do anything on offense after this.
Introducing the all-new Nissan Maxima. It has an award.
The 3rd tailback, and he'll lose a couple. M.Madu drilled as he got to the line of scrimmage, and it was Johnny Curtin the 296-pound senior defensive tackle.
You know, I want to make a point again about this Oklahoma offense that is very unique to me. It's very difficult to have a team that is both good at running power football and pass blocking and throwing out of the spread with empty backfield sets. And this team, what they've shown so far early in the year, is as good as I've seen of a team that has both of those components.
Keep it on the ground, the outside from M.Madu. Well, I think it's a tribute to the offensive line.
Yeah.
I mean, some offensive lines are really good at running one system, but usually not a second or a third. They seem to be good at everything.
I mean, if you're a good run blocking team, typically you're not good at pass blocking. And when you get in third down situations, you struggle. But this team, with their offensive line, they do both pretty well. James Patton is the offensive line coach, his third year under Bob Stoops. And I think a lot of credit has to go to him, too, because this is an excellent Oklahoma offensive line.
Well, you bet. When they're playing that well, he's doing something right as a coach. C.Brown checks back in. Wholesale blitz. Bradford stands in the pocket, throws underneath, complete. Iglesias down to the 12. It's enough for a first down. Iglesias, their possession receiver. C.Brown threw a good block as Donald Butler was blitzing. Let's check in with Holly.
Well, you're talking about the Oklahoma offensive line, guys, and there's a reason they're looking good running both the spread and the power run game. They're gigantic, first of all, but after the bowl game against West Virginia, they actually asked them to lose some weight. Their trainer, Jerry Schmidt, put them on a training program. They wanted them to be quicker. They felt like West Virginia out-quicked them. They lost the weight, and, guys, they're looking good.
Boy, aren't they ever. M.Madu, 5 to the 1. Moses M.Madu out of Norman, Oklahoma, homegrown product. And the stable just keeps doing its job. Boy, it got quiet in here, didn't it? I mean, 72,000 people not making a sound. And you really can't blame them. They're on the verge of being down by 34 in the first half. And now they are. M.Madu just walks in. And this is really the last thing that Tyrone Willingham needed to see from his club. To have 30 hung on them in the first half.
Well, they've had over 30 hung on them, but, you know, they've been their own worst enemy. The turnovers, you just cannot turn the football over to a superior football team the way that they've done in the first half and hope to not have this happen. I mean, you know, Oklahoma is capable of scoring like this on anybody in the country, but when you help them with turnovers, you're asking for a butt whipping, and that's what this is right now.
Can you say that on ESPN? I guess you can. Well, you can. I can't. But it's gotten up to 34 to nothing, so I think that qualifies.
You may know about OU athletics, but what do you know about OU academics? Did you know that
down at 1 Eastern.
Kind of interesting. The two favorites, Kyle Busch and Carl Edwards, struggled a little bit in practice this week. Clint Boyer actually has the fastest car there. And the guy with the momentum is Jimmy Johnson after back-to-back wins in California and Richmond. So it'll be interesting to see how the chase begins.
Well, thank you, Gary.
Yeah. Vroom, vroom.
Polk on the return. And back to the 20. Here's Reese Davis. Reese.
All right, Mike Todd, coming up at halftime, we'll get you up to date on Ohio State and USC. And frankly, the Trojans are starting to put down the hammer. Just scored another touchdown to make it 14-3. You guys are watching a Pac-10 team flunk a home test. Several road tests were also flunked, though one was passed in thrilling fashion. Get you up to date on all the scores, including a chase for a record-setting day and a scintillating offensive performance by Missouri. See you in just a little bit, guys.
All right, Reese, thanks very much. Look forward to all the highlights and the information. Washington takes over at its own 19, and you've really got to feel sorry for Locker. This is a quality ball player and a quality kid, and he is just not yet surrounded by enough experienced talent so he can showcase what he can do.
And this Oklahoma defense has had a pretty good plan for him. They've come at him from a lot of different angles. They've not given him a real comfortable look. And then when he did make a play, he turned it over.
Locker throws underneath and completes this one to Aguilar, who's had a pretty good ball game. He and Goodwin have been his two best targets coming into this game. Both of the tight ends were expected to be a factor, but haven't been so far. It's been those two wide receivers.
They've got some talent at the skill position. It's just very young. I mean, Goodwin is the same age as Locker, and he only had 6 catches a year ago, so it's going to take him a while.
Again, he was the leading returning receiver with 6 catches. They lost everybody else. And you played at some point in your career with young guys. I mean, they don't always run the right routes. They don't know the plays.
And it takes a while, I mean, just to get a feel for each guy, because everybody runs routes a little bit differently. Everybody has a little different strength and weakness, and it takes time to develop that. And it takes longer than just doing it in the summer and doing 7-on-7. You got to get in game action with guys and see how they react to situations as well.
So everything that's going on here, even though you're down 34-0, is of long-term value to Washington, because they're going to learn, specifically playing against a team like this. And another bad snap. Aguilar makes the catch, got away from Brian Jackson and gets out of bounds. That stops the clock at the 106 mark. Here's Holly.
Well, Jake Locker is trying to get on the same page with those young wide receivers, guys. Every time they go to the sideline, it's constant conversation. He sits right in the middle of his wide receivers. He doesn't sit with the other quarterbacks. He sits right with the wide receivers. It has been a constant dialogue. He and DeAndre Goodwin constantly going back and forth this entire first half. So, guys, they're definitely trying to learn each and every possession.
Thanks, Holly. Here's Locker on the shotgun snap. Couldn't find a receiver and got buried by Travis Lewis. This kid out of San Antonio, Texas, a redshirt freshman. And Todd, I think you put it perfectly earlier. He has just exploded onto the scene. He was at best a third-team weak side linebacker, and now the guy's leading his team in tackles and making plays. Pass thrown underneath, but they whistle it dead. And it's going to be an offside against Oklahoma. Austin English got an early start.
Dead ball, offside by the defense, unabated to the quarterback, 5 yards, second down.
Well, the interesting thing about Travis Lewis is the reason that he won out and ultimately became the starter was because of his mind. He was a very quick learner, and Austin Box had the injury, and Mike Bolligan, the JC transfer, it got a little tough for him as they were installing more and more of the defense, and Travis Lewis was just learning things so quickly and so well that he emerged as the guy to play as a starter, and he has really taken that position and run with it.
Locker trying to make something happen here at the end of the half, and another flag is down. Make it a second one. I think that the second flag is going to be an unsportsmanlike conduct foul on DeMarcus Granger, and both teams have had temper problems since this game started, even before. And I think Washington really upset with what they thought was a cheap shot at the end of that play.
Well, there's a lot of frustration wearing purple right now.
Yeah.
And some of that spilled over at the end of that play. I think they already were going to call a personal foul on Oklahoma for the late shot after the play was blown dead. Now it's a matter of whether they call one on Washington as well.
I hate offsetting penalties. I think that's just a bailout for everybody. But it looked like there would be a penalty for being offsides, and then DeMarcus Granger.
There are 2 fouls on the play, both dead ball. False start, number 80 on the offense, 5-yard penalty. Dead ball personal foul, number 96 on the defense. Both penalties will be enforced.
So Middleton is called for the offensive penalty, and then there's the foul on DeMarcus Granger. I mean, it wasn't awful, but it was obviously it was a penalty.
And again, you see the frustration of Juan Garcia, the senior leader up there, that saw one of his guys get knocked down. But again, the frustration of them having 0 points here with 40 seconds left in the first half. Probably a little bit more so.
Yeah, you don't want to go messing with Juan.
No. He's pretty thick, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. Yeah, you get in a fight in a ditch, I want Juan on my side.
We talked about him overcoming the injuries, also overcome a very difficult upbringing, involved in gangs and some other things in Yakima, and came through it all to be a good player here.
Locker takes off, drilled as he got to the 35, and boy, when Locker has run, he has taken some shots, and he is down. It was the middle linebacker Ryan Reynolds who stuck his helmet in there, and Lord, you hate to see this with a terrific young kid going down. One of Oklahoma's kids hurt as well. And then maybe Granger again.
The pocket collapsed. Jake Locker does what he does well, and just a good hit. May have just knocked the wind out of him, may have been a little bit worse, but it was a good solid hit by Ryan Reynolds, number 8, playing middle linebacker now for Oklahoma. He was an outside linebacker last year.
Stuck that helmet right in the midsection, may have even gotten the arm as well. Locker being helped up, and DeMarcus Granger still down for Oklahoma.
10 elite universities.
And he got punched. 72, Casey Bulika looked like he threw a right hand. And that is just, there's no other word for that than payback.
Yeah.
And Ronnie Fouch, the redshirt freshman out of Redlands, California, has come in for Locker. He throws Aguilar. Cut down as he got to the 17-yard line. Lendy Holmes, number 11, with the tackle. There is...
Yeah, there's a flag down on the far sideline, over on the Oklahoma sideline. I'm not sure what the call is. Away from the play.
It would seem like a sideline violation if it's anything.
Delay of game, sideline interference by the defense. That is a 5-yard penalty from the succeeding spot. First down.
Now, Ronnie Fouch, the coaches told us, had a great camp. And he's an excellent pocket passer, probably a better pocket passer, particularly on the deep throws, than Jake Locker. Doesn't have near the running ability, but can throw the football.
The high school senior threw for almost 2,700 yards for his high school in Redlands, California, and they have it with 13 seconds to go. Holly, what do you have?
Guys, Jake Locker is standing here on the sideline. It looks like he's available to go back in. I just saw him tell a guy, I'm fine, but they're going with Fouch right now. As you said, they have complete confidence in him. They're going to let Locker get a break and not get him beat up here before the half.
Yeah, exactly. Looked like he just got the wind knocked out of him. When that helmet hits, you know, you're in a very vulnerable position, and that's the interesting thing. You say, wow, you can't let a guy like Jake Locker run the ball as many times this year as he did last year, or a guy like Tim Tebow. But when they run the ball, they actually are more protected. They know how to get behind their pads. They know how to deliver a blow. Where they take the worst hits is when they throw the football out of the pocket when they're not protected. And that was a case where, in that case, Locker got hit right underneath the shoulder pads and probably knocked the wind out of it.
Four-man rush. Fouch throws to the end zone and throws wide. Stops the clock with 6 seconds left. You know what I would like to see right now, and I don't know if the officials will do it, is go to both locker rooms and say, all right, we've had enough of this stuff.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to come out and retaliate in the second half. We're done with this. And maybe one of the fun parts of this is going to watch them leave together, because there is only one tunnel off the field into the locker room.
Another low snap by Garcia.
Fouch for the end zone, has a man tipped away and incomplete. Wide wide open was Aguilar. The pass floated to him.
Well, the pass floated, Mike, but it floated because it was late because the ball was on the ground from the snap.
You're right.
The low snap has busted up the timing on a couple plays today for Washington. Aguilar was open. The design of the play was good, but the throw was late because the snap was poor.
And now the boos were because they're going to try a field goal from 28 yards. Boy, this is a tough call to make. I know you want points, but so what? They missed it, but so what? What if you get 3 points? You're down 34-0. Go for the touchdown. Tough first half for Tyrone Willingham and his kids. Down 34-0 at the half. Let's go to Reese Davis and the Pontiac G6 halftime report. Reese.
All right, Mike, so a complete Sooner can of whooping being applied to the backside of the Huskies. Glad to have you with us on the Pontiac G6 halftime report. Jesse Palmer, Mark May here. Ohio State and USC rolling. Beanie Wells not dressed out. Todd Beckman to Boom Herron, first down. Before Joaquin Iglesias scores. The first half, here's R.Broyles. Boomer, Sooner.
The first half numbers, only the passing yards anywhere near close, but look at the total yard dominance, 330 to 164, and Washington has certainly been its own worst enemy with 3 first half turnovers, and the Sooners are just too good to give them that kind of an advantage. Oklahoma on the return with Iglesias. There is a flag down near the 30-yard line, and so is Iglesias out of bounds.
Holding, number 25 on the return team, 10-yard penalty, first down.
Well, there's no way to sugarcoat it for Tyrone Willingham. It was just an ugly first half performance.
Well, it really was. I mean, the 3 turnovers, as you mentioned, really hurt their cause, but let's give credit where credit's due, too. Oklahoma is an outstanding looking football team. Offensively, explosive, they're powerful, and defensively, they really shut down Jake Locker and the Washington offense with the exception of just a few plays. I mean, this was a dominant effort by a national championship type football team here in the first half.
Well, it was the kind of performance we expected to see, sort of hoping that Washington would be able to put up a little bit more resistance, but they haven't so far. DeMarco Murray straight up the middle, and Bradford, boy, how impressive has he been?
Well, his poise in the pocket under duress has been excellent. His balance, I mentioned his feet always underneath him, whether he's rolling out or throwing out of the pocket, and then accuracy right on the money the entire first half. 13 of 16 for 142 yards and 3 touchdowns. I mean, you just can't play any more efficiently from the quarterback position than he did.
He is a legitimate star. And DeMarco Murray, the starting tailback, one of 3 that's been used so far, taken down by Senio Kamete.
You know, the one thing also that Sam Bradford does, and Kevin Wilson brought this up in our meeting, and you can see it when he plays, he really plays within himself. He doesn't try to force things. You know, you don't see him gamble on throws very often. Plays within himself, knows what he can do, what he can't do, and he trusts the parts around him to make plays.
Bradford, the quick toss this time. That's Broyles, and Broyles with that great speed breaks away midfield and has a convoy. No signal, touchdown. One official was looking at the other to see if Broyles had gone out of bounds. He had not. And the redshirt freshman, making the second start of his career, goes 77 yards on the short pop from Bradford.
I think he was shocked that he didn't go down after the initial contact. He made the catch on a short route, got bounced around a couple times, but never went down.
And you mentioned early in the broadcast the thing that he brings to this offense is that ability to go deep and to make the big play, to take a short catch and turn it into a big play.
Bradford so far this year, 11 touchdown passes, 2 interceptions. He's completing more than 3/4 of his passes, and he's hit his last 8.
Look, this is a 4-yard route. I mean, it's a quick throw, and then nobody got him to the ground. And you see him looking around like, is that it? I mean, do I get to run now? And run he did with the convoy all the way to the end zone.
Quentin Richardson, number 28, was down there trying to hold him up, and it looked like he did stay in bounds.
He's got a little extra gear, a little extra bounce that some of these other talented receivers may not have. And again, just the wealth of talent they have at the skill position on this Oklahoma team is pretty impressive.
And in case you missed the story, he would have played a lot last year as a true freshman, but he got involved in an incident. He stole some gasoline the night before the opening game and was suspended for the entire year. So it cost him that season. Probably overall good for him because he got to grow up a little bit.
He went to Norman High School. He's from right there locally, and sometimes kids that grow up like that maybe have to separate from some friends or some acquaintances from high school and grow up a little bit, and it appears he's done that.
Polk shakes 6-7 tackles, taken down at the 17-yard line. Let's check in with Holly.
Well, guys, I checked in with both coaches at the half. Bob Stoops, I asked him about all the extracurricular stuff after the whistle, and if he addressed it with his team. He said, of course, that's not us, and I don't think it's Washington either. Tyrone Willingham said, you know, we just have to play. When guys aren't playing, when they're not focused, they tend to get caught up in that other stuff. He said, we got to get back to worrying about us. I asked him about the health of his quarterback, Jake Locker. He said he's fine, he's good to go.
Holly, this defense right now for Washington on a pace to give up 800 yards to Oklahoma, and it looks like it has a chance to get even uglier as the game goes along. Logan, the flanker, came out. The pass was a little low and it's incomplete. You got to feel a little bit for Locker, because when we saw him early last year, first or second game he played, just saw the highlights, you thought, boy, this kid is going to be a real player.
Yeah. Well, he is definitely a highly skilled guy. I mean, he's got a strong arm. He's a great runner. He's been pretty bottled up in this game so far tonight. You know, I think when you watch him and you see his skill set, and you think the guy over in Gainesville last year, Tim Tebow, won the Heisman Trophy running a similar style type offense. And you think, boy, if Jake Locker was in that offense on that team, would he have won the Heisman, or would he have had the same kind of success? And I lean towards saying yes, he would. I mean, he is a tremendous athlete, much like Tim Tebow. Maybe a little faster than Tim, maybe not as strong. They both have good arms. Tim Tebow actually completed a high percentage of his passes last year and is again this year. That's the one area where Locker needs to really improve.
Quarterback draw. And I know when you say that, you're not taking anything away from Tebow.
No, absolutely not.
Nothing.
One of my favorite players in college football.
And he's a great kid, and so is Locker. I mean, you root for both of them because they exemplify what a college player ought to be and what a quote-unquote student athlete ought to be.
Absolutely. Jake Locker wanted to be part of the turnaround here at Washington. Could have gone anywhere. Felt comfortable here, and his mom, Anita, felt even more comfortable with him coming to Washington.
And he's from down the road in Ferndale, Washington. So he gets to see all of his relatives come and see him play here. Felt very comfortable with Tyrone Willingham. As we said, grew up in Ferndale. His dad, Scott, coached him as a kid. Played summer baseball for a wooden bat league out here. Said he discovered he didn't love baseball enough to play it, to dedicate himself to it. And he's going to concentrate on football. Was the Pac-10 freshman of the year a year ago. Rushed for nearly 1,000 yards. Just a tremendous runner. Oklahoma showing blitz, and here they come. Locker unloads and got it again to DeAndre Goodwin. Check back in with Holly for a little more on Jake Locker.
Well, guys, he actually did his homework before he chose to come to Washington. He visited about 5 other Pac-10 schools. He said his mom, Anita, was the one who finally saw through all the you-know-what and thought that Tyrone Willingham was the guy that cared the most about her son and that he would fit the best here. He also said, you know, I'm a community service guy. Coach Willingham told us he used to bake cookies for a charity back home. That's a big part of this program. He said, plus I've met about 100 of the most successful businessmen. The networking here has been unbelievable.
Todd, did you make cookies in high school? Was that part of your recruiting process, your community service?
No, I didn't make cookies. Didn't do that. Not sure I knew how. My kids know how to make cookies.
Do they?
My boys are, yeah, they're pretty good at it. Well, Jake Locker, you know, this is a rough start to the season. First of all, you got to remember he had a torn hamstring August the 7th and missed about 11 days of training camp. So when they played Oregon the first game, he was not 100% healthy. And then he took a lot of shots in that game, had a rough game against BYU, and he was healthy coming into this ball game, but this has been a very physical Oklahoma defense that's knocked him around a little bit.
Locker got that really nice throwing motion. Another completion to DeAndre Goodwin.
Right now, if you're Washington, if you're Jake Locker, you can't look at the scoreboard. You got to just try to find some positive things within the context of this game. Move the football. Try to score some points. Try to build some confidence as an offense. You just can't get caught up in we're down 41-0 and the game is hopeless. Play football. Just keep playing.
When you touch down at Hampton, you wake up a winner.
That's right, Tracy. Thanks for their complimentary hot breakfast, omelet,
sausage,
French toast sticks.
I love French food and sticks.
I've had asthma for...
Tells, and Oklahoma is delivering the prime in this one. The Sooners are up 41-0 on the Washington Huskies here in the third quarter. And if you might guess from the score, if you haven't been with us the whole time, it has been a dominant performance in every area. Isn't that beautiful?
This may be the most picturesque place I've ever done a game.
It's magnificent.
It is really, really pretty here.
Absolutely magnificent. Willie Griffin getting a chance to play tailback. He's out of Oakland, California, and Ryan Reynolds, who's done a pretty good job at middle linebacker, gets the stop. He's number 8.
I think one thing that Oklahoma and Bob Stoops has to be very happy with is, you know, that one question. Last year they did not play well when they left Norman. They lost a game at Colorado. They lost a game at Texas Tech, even though Sam Bradford was injured early in that game. They had a sloppy win over Iowa State. They won 17-7. And he said, you know, hopefully we're more mature. We've got more experience. We've got older guys. We've got to be able to play well on the road. And they certainly have answered that call so far in this ball game.
If you ever lose a game, some fans are going to pick out something to complain about. But it's very difficult to complain about the job Bob Stoops has done at Oklahoma. And one of the things I wanted to bring up tonight, he has, you see the symbol on his visor, the gold ribbon. That's a symbol from one of the local hospitals in the kids' cancer ward. He was asked to go there after they won a national championship to talk to some of these kids who were struggling with cancer, and you can only imagine how heart-wrenching that would be. He went and talked to them, and now he is a frequent and almost constant visitor to that facility. You don't win very many battles in a cancer ward for children, but he is a very courageous guy. He has gone there to give these kids hope as they're going to go for it and get the first down on third and a sneak. And hats off to Bob Stoops for having the courage to go give hope and joy to some of these kids. One little boy had a quote. I mean, keep in mind he had cancer. And he said, outside of this cancer thing, this has been the best year of my life.
Wow.
Because he was visiting with Bob Stoops and the Oklahoma football players. What kind of guts is that? That's remarkable. So our hat is off to Bob Stoops. That is wonderful stuff that he does. And he doesn't do it for the publicity. He's doing it because he believes in what he's doing. Locker throws underneath and gets this one complete to Alvin Logan. And before the game, Bob came out. There was a Pop Warner game.
Yeah. You know, Bob's from Youngstown, Ohio. I mean, that is pure football country. And northeastern Ohio, where I'm from, and whole family. Great coaching history in Youngstown. Youngstown Cardinal Mooney High School. Father was a coach.
My buddy Paul McGuire from Youngstown just said, you know, he regales you with stories about all the people that come out of Youngstown, Ohio. Another low snap, and Locker has to go down on one knee to come up with it. It's funny how certain places are hotbeds for certain things, and coach after coach after coach comes out of Youngstown, Ohio.
Well, this has been a problem all day for the Washington offense. Low snaps. It disrupts timing. It puts a little unnecessary duress on the quarterback, and in some cases it results in a turnover, as it did in the first half. One more time we saw it here in this possession. And I think the problem is that Juan Garcia knows those guys across the line. Gerald McCoy, Adrian Taylor, DeMarcus Granger. Outstanding defensive tackles. And they've really got his attention.
Locker floats this one incomplete. There's a flag down. That could be interference. You watch the Oklahoma defensive players react to certain things. Guys come out of the backfield on little swing routes. These kids are so quick to recognize things and to cover up.
Against an eligible receiver by number 8 on the defense. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
Middle linebacker Ryan Reynolds, who has battled with knee injuries throughout his career. And Brent Venables has got a group here that you win championships with defense, and not only does he have a great defensive unit, but these guys on the other side of the ball can score and score and score. What a great combination. I'd put them up against anybody that we've seen so far.
That's for sure.
Locker, flanker screen, gets it out to Goodwin. This would be really good long-term for Washington. Because it's been a good-looking drive so far to get down here and get a touchdown. I'd hate to see them line up and try for a field goal again. Tyrone Willingham knows he's got to turn that corner soon. This is his 4th year of a 5-year contract. This will be an 0-3 start, and arguably the toughest start that any team has had this year with the 3 teams that they have played.
Well, and quite honestly, I don't know that anybody, any of the quote-unquote experts or commentators on college football, when they looked at this Washington schedule, thought that Washington would be any better than 0-3. Maybe they thought 1-2, they might beat BYU at home, and they came very close to doing that. And really, what you mentioned about this being a positive for Washington, they've got to build something because the next couple games coming up are winnable games for Washington. If they go in with confidence and keep their morale up, they're good enough to win their next 3 ball games and kind of right the ship a little bit. But they've got to have something positive to build on in the second half of this Oklahoma game.
Locker. Ball came loose as he hit the ground, so they're going to say he's down by contact. And let's check in with Reese Davis. Reese.
All right, Mike, USC has a commanding lead on Ohio State, and it was almost worse. Final seconds of the first half, Mark Sanchez firing out there for Damian Williams, but Timothy Chikwa pulls down the interception. 21-3 at the half. On ESPN2 right now, Auburn has a 3-2 lead in the bottom of the 4th on Mississippi State, but the Dogs have a couple of runners on base. And New Mexico trying to knock off Arizona by 13.
Reese, are they on 1st and 2nd or 2nd and 3rd? Makes a difference. Walker, good protection. He'll take off now. This is where he's the most dangerous. Got a great block in the corner. Jake Walker, touchdown. Willie Griffin peeled back and gave him a block that allowed him to turn the corner.
I'm not so sure Jake Locker wouldn't have turned the corner anyway with his speed, but the block by Griffin secured it for sure. And we talked to the Oklahoma coaches about the speed of Jake Locker. They said, we put film of him against USC and Ohio State on for our guys, and that got their attention. When we saw him running by those guys with angles, our guys knew he was really fast.
He's sort of a cross between Pat White of West Virginia and Tim Tebow. He's not as fast as White. He may be faster than Tebow. Their arm is right in between those two guys. It's a pretty good combination with whatever he's got.
Welcome, Brooke Shields. What's on your mind?
Well, there's an epidemic.
It's what the people want. And Samsung HD TV, a new generation of TV.
Majesty of Mount Rainier off in the distance. The snow-capped peak, and the scenery out here is just absolutely magnificent. 41-7, the Huskies finally get on the board. And now Oklahoma will take a knee and start at 20. I want to take you back to last week when the Huskies nearly pulled the upset against 15th ranked BYU. 2 seconds left in the game, down by a touchdown. Quarterback draw, Jake Locker with 2 seconds left. Now watch when he comes up, tosses a ball over his shoulder, and he was flagged for an excessive celebration penalty. It backed up the extra point, and it was blocked. Here was the problem. Locker goes to the sideline, and here's the public address announcer say, excessive celebration penalty is called excessive, well, excuse me. An excessive celebration penalty is called on Washington. He said, what knucklehead did that? And they said number 10, and he looked down and he said, uh-oh, I'm wearing number 10. He didn't even realize he had done something that could be a penalty. And quite honestly, the officials, I think, hid behind the rule book. They said they had to call it. There was no discretion. That's not true. That is disingenuous for them to say that. There was discretion involved. They made the call anyhow. They changed the outcome of the game, and I think that was just horribly wrong on their part.
Yeah, I agree. I think that the rule is what it is, and I respect that. But you know, to me, it's one of those deals where it's the exercise the spirit of the law rather than the letter of the law. He was not trying to draw attention to himself. He was not trying to taunt his opponents. It was the end of a 17-play drive with 2 seconds left to potentially tie the score. That's the rule, okay? And the rule does say that one of the stipulations is throwing the ball high into the air. Now, what is high? How high is high? He did throw the ball, but I still don't think they need to make that call.
But those rules allow judgment. Roughing penalties allow judgment. You hear officials say on kickoffs, well, yeah, you can't, as this pass is complete, as they go with a flanker screen, you can't go across the line of scrimmage before the ball is kicked. Watch any kickoff. You'll see 3 or 4 guys who are a half step ahead of the ball, their shoulders across, and the official will say, well, he didn't go that far over the line. So there's judgment involved in all these calls, and you can't bail yourself out by saying, well, he threw the ball up in the air, so we had to make the
Well, I like what Tyrone Willingham said, too. You know, the old adage is you could call holding on every offensive football play. You use discretion of when you call it and when you don't. That's a case where they could have used discretion as well, in my opinion.
And that's just a crushing defeat, a crushing moment for Locker and his teammates, and for the future of Tyrone Willingham in this program. Bradford is still in there. This pass complete to Iglesias. Ball comes loose.
Yep, they're giving it to him.
Washington recovers, and those who are still here are cheering.
Well, this was a case where Iglesias was fighting for extra yardage.
He's saying he was down.
Wow, he was close to being down. Now, he was stretching that ball out to try to get extra yardage. The question was his leg or knee down before the ball came out? Now, the ball hit the ground, too, and the ground can't cause a fumble. Yeah, I think he was down. They ruled it a fumble, so they can review it.
Field is under review.
If any other body part other than your feet or your hand touches the ground, you're down.
Yeah.
And it was obvious his knees were down. And when he's stretching the ball, as long as he still has control of it, that doesn't make any difference either. We'll take a look at it when we come back.
The Eagles take on the Cowboys at 8:30 on ESPN Monday Night Football.
Welcome.
Down by contact, so no fumble. But they are going, let's see where they're going to spot the ball.
Well, I see 2 footballs on the field. I wonder which one they're going to play with.
Let's play with both. Let alone,
yeah.
I want
which one they're going to use.
I've never seen this.
They got one on the 30 and one on the 32.
Well, the one on the 32 is obviously a first down.
Now they got to check and see where the ball is supposed to be marked, I believe.
Now you would have a different element in this game. Snap whichever ball you like.
You know, I just want to go back and make one more point to finish off the story of what happened last week in the BYU game. I mean, it affected where the kick was being made from. And BYU came through and blocked the extra point. And it was a much longer kick than a normal extra point. But you know, BYU may very well have won that game. You got to give credit to them as well. They played an excellent game. They were a very good football team on the road, and they came in here and you know, so you can't necessarily say that lost the game for Washington, but it certainly affected that extra point kick. And it's an unfortunate way for a game to end. You want the game to be decided on the field by the players playing the game, not the guys wearing the striped shirts.
Check in with Holly.
You know, Jake Locker, after that, he went into the locker room and he did apologize to his teammates and tell them it would never happen again. But our Joe Shad came out here to do a feature this week, and you know, when their sports information staff told him about it, he said, you know, I'm not going to change my opinion on that. I think it was a bad call. I don't think they should have called it. And he was really adamant he wasn't going to change who he was and how he played. In fact, he had text messages from about over 100 people, including Archie Manning, who said, you know, hey, we're supporting you out here. But he also got words of wisdom from his dad. His dad hates the kind of guys that celebrate. He's been very strict about it as his coach growing up. But he said, son, I love the way you play. Don't ever change.
That's good advice.
Yeah.
And we don't like guys who call attention to themselves and the hot dogs. But he was not calling attention to himself. Yeah. He was celebrating a brilliant play with 2 seconds left to go in the game that gave his team a chance to win it. There's a big difference. Oklahoma has a first down. Iglesias on the flanker screen gets it out past the 35. And let me go back to something you said earlier, Todd. The variety of plays and offensive systems that Oklahoma is able to run. I mean, that is just so impressive, especially when they get in close ball games. They'll be able to do basically anything they want that they think that defense is vulnerable to.
And it all revolves around their offensive line and their quarterback's decision-making.
Bradford, nice touch pass, gets this complete, and that's Jermaine Gresham, the tight end. 64 yards. Let me paraphrase Buddy Ryan. All he does is catch touchdowns. The frustration on the face of Tyrone Willingham.
Well, it's sloppy tackling by the Washington defense. And we saw it on the R.Broyles touchdown, and now we see it again on the Gresham touchdown. Good throw and catch. Okay, you give up a play, but don't give up a 64-yard touchdown just because you're sloppy trying to make the tackle. And that should not have been a touchdown.
Gresham is 6'6", 261, and he can run. You don't think this guy has an NFL feature? 18 out of 21 for Bradford, 5 touchdowns. Time now for Todd's Taste of the Town, that's brought to you by Chase.
Located on Seattle's Salmon Bay and just a short boat ride from Husky Stadium is the historic Fisherman's Terminal, the home port of the North Pacific fishing fleet. And right in the center of the terminal is a great restaurant called Chinook's. It's been open since 1988, and the seafood here is so fresh, even the fishermen eat here. Now, some people, like my partner, think I won't eat anything unless it's fried or smothered in gravy, but I've got a very versatile palate, and today I've got a beautiful piece of king salmon that was roasted on an alder plank, gives it a tremendous flavor, and topped with a roasted red pepper beurre blanc sauce. Exquisite.
That is the first time I've ever heard you use the word exquisite. First time I've ever seen you with a napkin.
Yeah, you just usually use the sleeve, but yeah, I had to change it up a little bit.
You go out there and all those boats outside, they could probably reel in some salmon where they're anchored right now.
Now that place goes through 250 pounds of king salmon a week, and it is, boy, it was really, really good.
You know, I don't like seafood, but that looked wonderful. It looked like it was prepared beautifully. 48-7. And the return for Tripper Johnson, the former minor league baseball player. Unfortunately, I do have a complaint about Taste of the Town this week.
Okay.
The salmon pie that you brought back. The apple pie a week before was a lot better. The salmon pie leaves something to be desired.
Yeah, a little bit of a stretch.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Well, I'll tell you, I couldn't come to Seattle and not have the fresh salmon. I mean, that's what Seattle's known for. And, Chinook's was outstanding. It was really a great place, and just had to change up. You know, probably go back to something real healthy next week. But
you know, you could put gravy on salmon. I mean, that's.
I guess some people could think that it was gravy, that beurre blanc sauce.
Yes. And I thought that was pronounced very well.
Thank you.
Now here we go. At UCLA had burgers to the apple pan, chopped pork at East Carolina. That stuff looked good. And Chinooks this week. Next week we'll be at Auburn, and I think you're right. I think we'll go back to probably a little more home down south home cooking. You think?
You know, the other thing I didn't get to see at Chinooks, but I know they had a big crowd. They have a boat. It's called the Dog Boat that leaves from that restaurant on game day, and they had 450 passengers that ride the boat from the restaurant to Husky Stadium. And I know they had a bunch of Oklahoma fans that were doing it as well. Yeah, it's a big deal. It's been going on for several years out of that restaurant and out of the Fisherman's Terminal. So it's about a 45-minute boat ride, only because they can only go a certain speed. But, boy, wouldn't that be a fun way to come to a game?
Wouldn't it, though?
Yeah.
You saw DeMarcus Granger coming back on with crutches. He was the young man who was called for a penalty on a play that was whistled dead. He got a lick in and was called for a roughing penalty, and on the next play was retaliated against. He was triple teamed and got banged around, and this is Ronnie Fouch, who was in a quarterback.
Yeah, this was, you know, I mean, I understand the guys going at him a little bit, but the extracurricular stuff is what was unnecessary. That's what didn't need to happen. Now, he hurt his foot, obviously, has a boot on his foot, and he's using the crutches, but the extracurricular stuff by the Washington offensive line there was totally uncalled for.
And at second look, it did not look like a punch that one of those guys threw. He was just, what did the one official used to say in the NFL? He was down there giving them the business.
Yeah.
Broyles, with that tremendous speed, got a heck of a block at the sideline. This week, Monday Night Football takes you to the NFC East. Donovan McNabb, Brian Westbrook, and the Eagles against Tony Romo and the Dallas Cowboys. Monday Night Football on ESPN at 8:30 Eastern. Our coverage begins at 7:30 Eastern. Monday Night Countdown delivered by UPS. That is arguably the toughest division in all of football in the NFC East. And the Eagles and the Cowboys, the Eagles surprised people last week.
Yeah.
The Cowboys, a lot of people's trendy choice to win it all.
Well, Donovan McNabb, I'll tell you, when he's on, he can flat out play. And Brian Westbrook, just is a guy, he really is. He's a little guy. He's kind of an unassuming looking guy out there on the field, but he makes plays.
Yes,
he really makes a lot of plays.
Joey Halsley out of Huntington Beach, California, 6'3" senior, comes on. He put up pretty good numbers so far in relief of Bradford. 14 out of 16. That's almost 88%. Obviously doesn't get a chance, but they should be pretty comfortable with him in there because he is so accurate. Brown gets the carry, and Sam Bradford had another brilliant ball game through almost 3/4 of play.
Well,
he is a talented kid.
He is, and I watched the first 2 games on Coach's tape and was very impressed, and equally impressed with him today. And again, those 3 components just jumped out at me on film. I mean, his composure and his poise, his balance of his feet, and his accuracy throwing the football.
Matt Clapp, the fullback, gets a rare carry. Now, when you say Coach's tape, tell the fans what you're talking about there and what you see on that.
I mean, I just watched the same tape that the coaches on the at the respective schools have, and it's basically an angle of the film where it's all 22 players. So you see the whole offense, you see the whole defense, and you don't see as tight as shots as we usually give you on a TV camera angle, and it's just an easier way to watch the whole play, watch everybody on the play. And you usually see it from the sideline like we're looking at it right now, and then they'll run the same play from kind of behind the offense, so you see it from 2 different perspectives.
But it's much easier to identify what defenses, what coverages are in the secondary and that kind of thing. And that's exactly why they call it Coach's tape, because that's what they're going to look at. They want to see what schemes these other teams are running, and that's going to be the last play of the 3rd quarter. Yeah, the analysts do their research. That's why they're so good up here. It's 48-7 Sooners into 3.
The chase for the Sprint Cup begins in New Hampshire.
Brighter, and it's bolder. It's Disney Channel originals you can't live without. It's Disney Channel in HD. Comcast Channel 741. The quality you want and the shows you need. Comcast HD.
ESPN's college football primetime is available in sparkling clear ESPN HD. And right now, I think the Washington Huskies would like a little less clarity because they are getting mauled by the 3rd-ranked Oklahoma Sooners, 48-7. And Oklahoma has not called off the Dogs. They've called off the Sooners because they've got their 2nd-team offense in there in the person of Joey Halsley. The quarterback is still rotating tailbacks. M.Madu gets this carry.
Well, what you get to do right now if you're Oklahoma is you work your backups, not just your quarterback, but more importantly, you work your backup offensive linemen. You've got an outstanding offensive line. 4 of those 5 guys are seniors. Now you get some of those young backups in, your sophomores and your freshmen and your juniors, and you let them get a little game experience, because ultimately, that's that position where you need depth.
Never too early to think about the rankings either, because come the end of the year, you want to have the best possible shot at it. Here goes Madu, taken out of bounds around the 20. So with what is obviously a very impressive win by Oklahoma, did they leapfrog Georgia, who was number 2 this week? And we've already seen the voters are willing to move people in and out of the top spot because of scoring margin. Whether you like that or not, it's obviously a factor.
Well, it can be scoring margin. It can be an unimpressive kind of a win. I think they probably will jump Georgia. Whether it matters that much, I personally don't think even at this point the polls are that important. I personally think that there shouldn't be any poll until the 1st week of October, and you let teams play 3 or 4 or 5 games and also play some games of some significance, and by that time, by the 1st of October, everybody has played some pretty good competition, and you have a better idea who's for real. But this team right here in white is for real. I can vouch for them.
They've got all the elements, that veteran offensive line, an incredibly accurate passer. Halsley throws for the end zone. This one is overthrown. They have, I think, a good enough running game.
Yeah.
And they have a fast, tough defense.
Yeah.
What's not to like?
The only thing you don't know about this team right now. I mean, it's young. You don't know. Jimmy Stevens, their freshman kicker, is 1 for 1 on the year in field goals. That's all they've ever had to call on him. So you don't know yet if they get into that kind of a game where they need some clutch kicks, how he's going to respond. But everything else that you know about this team right now is pretty good passing marks, I'd say.
But that's a pretty good thing not to know, isn't it?
Yeah, as long as you don't have to.
Screen, M.Madu, blocker in front, down to the 6-yard line. It will be 1st and goal, and it was Brandon Walker, the right guard out of Detroit. He's one of the 4 senior starters out of 5 that was out there in front blocking.
You know, when I think of a team that has the potential to be a national championship contending team, there's certain things I think are very important. Number one, you've got to be strong up front on both sides of the ball, your offensive line and your defensive line, and you need experience at quarterback. And they have that. Oklahoma has that, all 3 phases, in very impressive fashion. I've been very impressed with this offensive line, very impressed with the defensive line, and of course Sam Bradford through the first 3 weeks of this 2008 season has been spectacular.
It was an offside call against Washington. They move the ball inside the 5, and M.Madu lowers his shoulder and pounds his way into the end zone.
Well, they came in averaging 54.5 points per game, and they are at their mark right now with most of the 4th quarter still remaining.
Well, we got a final. Auburn has won 3-2.
3-2.
3-2.
Wow.
Who got the save?
That's a little different spread offense. Tony Franklin, the new offensive coordinator at Auburn, installed the spread offense. 3-2. Wow.
Apparently it's not completely installed yet.
We'll see them next week.
Yes, we will. They've just gone above the average. It's 55-7.
The new 2009 Mercury Mariner. 28 miles per gallon. Better than Honda. Unsurpassed mileage. Finds the best gas prices. Even reads your text messages with Sync. It's one smart utility vehicle. Now lease a well-equipped Mercury Mariner with Sun and Sync package for only $269 a month.
You gotta put Mercury on your list.
Hey, dude, what are you doing?
Beware, this man is a reverse pickpocketer.
Grab a new BK wrapper and let the king put extra money in your pocket.
The kids have been wanting to go to the safari theme park since last summer. So we used our City Cash Returns card to buy the tickets and stuff. It was great to get close to the animals, but not that close. Luckily, we used the cash we got back to help pay for some body work.
With your City Cash Returns card, earn unlimited cash back and get it mailed to you automatically. Whatever your story is, your City Cash Returns card can help you write it, because City never sleeps.
Lucky Dog has an unorthodox bowling style. What the? That's one lucky dog.
Everyone who shops at Aaron's has a lucky dog, too. You don't need credit at Aaron's to get name brand furniture, electronics, appliances, and computers at the guaranteed low price. You're pre-approved. Flexible payment plans. Nobody beats Aaron's.
Spin move. Between the legs. Under the legs. Overhead lying down. Blindfolded. Unbelievable. That's one lucky dog.
Next on SportsCenter, live from Southern Cal, post-game analysis, and we go one-on-one with a winning coach. Plus the day's biggest upsets and a wild Hail Mary finish. And did doubleheader Saturday mean double trouble for some pennant hopefuls? SportsCenter, next.
Welcome back to Husky Stadium in Seattle. Let's take a look at the ESPNU All-State Standing Review. USC leading Ohio State. That game in the second half. Georgia goes to 3-0 as they beat a really good South Carolina team. Oklahoma, they're going to go to 3-0, obviously. Florida was off. Ohio State trailing. Missouri goes to 3-0. LSU beating North Texas. Texas and Arkansas postponed, or Texas game was postponed because of Hurricane Ike. Auburn 3-2 at Mississippi State. 3 2.
They won on a Bo Jackson homer. Well, we'll see Auburn and LSU next week, 2 of those top 10 teams.
Moreland kicks it into the end zone. They'll leave it there. Jordan Polk takes it. Reese, what do you have?
All right, guys, get you up to date and show you how everything unfolded at the end of the Auburn-Mississippi State game. Now, this was after an Auburn fumble, which followed a very questionable decision by Sylvester Croom to go for it on 4th and 15. Spectacular interception by Walter McFadden on the deep pass by Wesley Carroll. And from there on 3rd down, just a third down conversion for either team in the entire game by Ben Tate. State didn't convert one all night. Auburn beats Mississippi State 3-2.
Holy cow. Now let's see if Washington can get something going on offense. Freeman had that carry. Let's go down to Holly.
Well, I am with a special guest, Kent Bradford, the father of Oklahoma quarterback Sam Bradford. And Kent, you were his coach growing up in 3 different sports. When did you start to notice that he might be a special kind of competitor?
Oh, he was always real good for his age. He always played hard, and he always paid attention. That's probably his main point. He just paid attention.
Now, you were a player at Oklahoma, so you know what this means when the coaches say they love how he plays within himself. How do you think he developed that?
All right. I just think that's his nature. I mean, he's not overly aggressive. He just kind of takes it, you know, as it comes.
How did he take this new no-huddle offense? What was his reaction when they changed it out this summer?
I think he was very excited about it. I think, you know, once they got the timing worked out, that was his concern, to getting everybody on the same speed. But I think he was real excited about it.
What is it like for you tonight to see this kind of performance on the road in a pretty tough environment?
Well, it's always good to see the Sooners do good.
From a true offensive lineman back in the day. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Holly, and thank you, Kent. Oh, Kent. Wow. That had to be the 70s, huh? Went well with a nice leisure suit.
Well, I think that, you know, you just listening to Kent talk and being a former offensive lineman, you can just tell that humility and that willingness to spread the ball around and just play within himself. I mean, it just kind of goes quite naturally for Sam Bradford. I'm very impressed by this young man, really am.
Absolutely. Ronnie Fouch in a quarterback for the rest of the way for Washington. Throws on the run and throws a perfect strike. Nice toss by Fouch that time to Charles Hawkins, who was a senior, getting a chance to play a little bit here in the 4th quarter.
Well, we talked about Fouch being good out of the pocket, or throwing from the pocket. This time rolling out, throwing back across. Got away with it, but a nice accurate throw.
Coaches say this kid, if it's necessary for him to play from Washington, can certainly hold his own as a pocket passer. Brandon Jakubowski into the ball game, number 35. As both coaches going just about as deep as they can into their bench and giving people a chance to play here in the 4th quarter with 10:53 to go. Well, you just wonder what is going through Tyrone Willingham's mind right now, as he has seen 3 top 20 teams come through here, and now the number 3 team in the country may be getting ready to elevate itself to number 2, and seeing his team just hammered in 2 of those 3 games. They admitted they did not play well when they played against Oregon. BYU, they had a chance to at least tie, barring that controversial penalty call, but today it's been no contest.
Offside by number 89. The offensive man lifted when threatened. Remains 1st down.
And we told you how bad it was defensively. They'd been giving up almost 486 yards a game coming into this one. It's going to go up. It's going to go over 500 a game because Oklahoma is on the verge of 600 in this one. And you can't win giving up that many yards. I don't care how good your offense might be. You can get Tom Brady at full health and the Patriots, and if they're giving up 600 yards, you lose. Holly Rowe, what do you have?
Guys, the Oklahoma training staff working on middle linebacker Ryan Reynolds right now. He's got some problems with his right knee. They're doing extensive ligament tests, that are pretty standard, but he's really complaining of some discomfort on the outside right underneath the kneecap. So Oklahoma doesn't give us any injury updates. That's their standard policy. I can also tell you DeMarcus Granger out for the game. As you saw, he's on crutches, left foot injury.
Holly, thank you so much. Here's Fouch under pressure, rolls away from it, and launches for the end zone, up for grabs.
Got a rebound.
On the bounce for a touchdown. And that looked like Yakuboski. And it was. Kept his eyes open and kept playing. Took the ricochet from Alvin Logan, and Yakuboski trailing the play made the catch.
Well, it's kind of like a Hail Mary play. You go up, you try to keep it alive, and Yakuboski exactly right. Watched it. Look at his eyes. He tracked the ball the whole way and was right there for the carom and the touchdown.
That was a Hail Yakuboski.
You don't see those very often.
Chance for the Huskies to celebrate. Hail Yakuboski.
What would you do if I sang out of tune? Would you stand up and walk out on me? Lend me your ears and I'll sing you a song, and I'll try not to sing out of key. Oh, I get by with a little help from my friends. Yeah, I'm gonna try with a little help from my friends. Oh, I get by with a little help from my friends, with a little help from my friends.
At Hampton, we love having you here.
I got to tell you, since I've been hurt and missing work, you've been a big help to this family. No, really. The cash we get from Aflac helps us maintain the house, put food on the table. And my Jenny continues with her piano lessons. Yep, this family's doing just fine. And it's all thanks to
Aflac. Ask about it at work.
Most brewers have a dash of hops.
We use a pound of hops per barrel.
We add some caramel malt to that.
Samuel Adams Lager is a full-bodied, complex beer.
But everything is there in balance.
We haven't deviated from the recipe because it works. It's a great beer.
Introducing Taco Bell's new 89-cent Volcano Taco. With spicy lava sauce, it could be the spiciest taco ever.
Wait, my Volcano Taco. Don't look at me.
Why pay more for heat when you can think outside the bun?
The new 2009 Mercury Mariner. 28 miles per gallon. Better than Honda. Unsurpassed mileage. Finds the best gas prices. Even
It looks like all the boats are still there, but most of the fans in the stands are gone. We started with around 72,000 people. There aren't many of them left. You can understand why. Oklahoma with Johnson on the return. Up to the 30, and we go back to the studio. Here's Reese Davis.
All right, Mike, Sports Center right now. Because of damage to Reliance Stadium in Houston due to Hurricane Ike, the Ravens-Texans game has now been moved to November 9th. Better check the schedules because both teams had to shuffle some games around in order to make that happen. And also because of the storms, the Cubs and Astros will play 2 games in Milwaukee on Sunday and Monday, although Minute Maid has been deemed playable. Some scores to get you up to date on LSU. See them against Auburn next week, crushing North Texas 41-3 late in the 4th quarter. You can see it on ESPN 360.
Reese, thanks so much. 55-14 here. We are under the 10-minute mark.
You take a look at what Oklahoma has in front of them now after this 3-0 start. Another road game at Baylor in a couple weeks. TCU at home after a week off. Big one with Texas and Dallas.
Always.
Yep, always a big game.
Now, Kansas is ranked 13th, but they were knocked off last night by South Florida, so they're going to drop. And that was a huge win for South Florida in the Big East, wasn't
Absolutely,
it?
sure was. South Florida has kind of positioned themselves now as the team to beat in the Big East.
They certainly have. And Jim Leavitt has done a magnificent job down there. And I love their quarterback.
Yeah, I do too. Matt Grothe is he's a winner. He's a competitor. He's a run pass dual threat guy. Jim Leavitt, I think he was with Bob Stoops and on Bill Snyder's staff at Kansas State before he took that job. Kind of that same coaching stock.
Oklahoma looking at a 3rd and 8 here with Halsley, the backup quarterback. Halsley throws the slant, incomplete, intended for Jameel Owens, and they'll have to punt it away.
You know, we mentioned Bob Stoops had a birthday this week, 48 years old, and not a very old guy when it comes to the coaching profession, but look what he has done. The coaching tree, current head coaches right now that are doing great jobs. Mike Leach at Texas Tech, Chuck Long, Mark Mangino at Kansas, Mike Stoops, his brother at Arizona, and the most recent one to leave his staff, Kevin Sumlin, now the head coach at Houston. That's a pretty impressive coaching tree for a guy who's only 48 years old.
Yes, it is. Goodwin is deep, comes up on a short kick, but can't get there, and Oklahoma will down it inside the 35. When we come back, we'll talk about the quality of the quarterbacks in the Big 12. Are they the best in college football? There's sure a bunch of them. Coming tomorrow afternoon on ABC as the chase gets underway for the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series at New Hampshire, presented by GoDaddy.com. The top 12 drivers in NASCAR racing for the Cup. Coverage starts with NASCAR Countdown at 1 Eastern tomorrow.
You know, it's interesting when you think about the Big 12 Conference, and I think as a flag down, I think now the Big 12 is the second best conference in college football, and a big part of that is the quarterbacks. Outstanding quarterbacks in the league. Of course, we've seen Bradford, Chase Daniel, one of the runners-up for the Heisman last year. Graham Harrell at Texas Tech throws it all over the place for Mike Leach's offense, and Colt McCoy at Texas. Also, and Todd Reesing, who we saw last night in a losing effort against South Florida, but an outstanding talent at quarterback. That league, I think last year they averaged 34 points a game. The league did. And, you know, it wasn't that many years ago where the Big 12 or the Big 8 was option football and 3 yards in a cloud of dust. Now it is an explosive, high-powered, spread offensive conference. I don't think the defenses are as good as the SEC, but offensively, probably the best in the country.
Well, Colt McCoy still leads the name contest. Yeah. He's number 1. I mean, it doesn't get any better than Colt McCoy for a quarterback.
Yeah. Chase Daniel's not too bad.
That's
either.
not bad.
That's a pretty good quarterback name, too.
Yeah.
Speaking of Chase Daniel, that's the one team that Oklahoma does not have on their schedule this year, Missouri. They played them a couple times last year, beat them in the Big 12 championship game, and also in the regular season.
Jakubowski getting a lot of work here in the fourth quarter and running pretty hard. Takes it down to the 44-yard line of the Oklahoma Sooners.
You know, we talked about Oklahoma and Washington. They'll be glad when this first 3-game stretch is over.
Amen.
You know, I mean, this is offensively, you're not going to play any better teams than they've played. And what's left for them, I really think 3 games, if they keep their morale up, that are winnable games. Stanford at home after a week off, and then at Arizona and Oregon State. And then Notre Dame comes calling on October 25th, and if they could win those 3 and even up their record at 3-3, who knows? They could maybe turn the thing around in a positive way for Tyrone Willingham.
Well, conventional wisdom is that 6-6 would be the minimum they would have to have for people to be on his side and say, okay, let's do that 5th year of his 5-year contract. And if they win the next 3, they'd be 3-3, and you could say 6-6 would be a legitimate goal. But if they don't win those 3, that's going to be a long road to get to 6-6.
Well, and those are the 3 that they really need to concentrate on, because then after Notre Dame, they go to USC. They have Arizona State. They're at Cal to finish the year. I mean, it gets tougher in the second half of their schedule after those 3 or 4 games.
Although, what happened to Cal at Maryland today? The Terps stepped up big time.
What happened to UCLA at Brigham Young?
Oh, my heaven. 59 points against the UCLA defense, and their offense did nothing.
Yeah. And we saw that defense in week 1 against Tennessee, and very impressed with how they played defense.
Now, maybe they read their press clippings in their week off.
Well, we talked about the Big 12 quarterbacks. That quarterback up in Provo is pretty doggone good, too. Max Hall is a very talented quarterback. And BYU is one of those teams that has a chance to make a run for the BCS.
Fouch on the draw. Jakubowski takes it down to the 25-yard line. Morgan Rosborough is in the offensive line, 6'6", 382 pounds. You don't have to watch him run. You can hear him run. He's number 70, lined up at right guard, 382 pounds. And I just watched him block on this play. He's got pretty quick feet. Not bad. Not bad. He's a junior. Boy, if Morgan hits one of those all-you-can-eat buffets, they're in trouble.
Take a look at him here. Moving his feet pretty good, trying to slip back inside. Again, this is the time in the game where you say, okay, it's kind of a washout part of the game, but your backups, the guys that work just as hard in practice, sometimes they're your scout team guys. You get them in the game. You get them some game experience, and you get them on tape, and you can coach them up after watching them on tape in a game.
Here comes Fouch, and Morgan may have gotten away with a little hold. I'd like to see what he could do on a screen pass. That'd terrify a safety, wouldn't it? Let's check in with Holly.
Well, guys, this is pretty impressive. This is obviously out of hand. Jake Locker's been on the sideline for a long time, the quarterback from Washington, but he's still standing right next to the guy that's signaling in the plays. Every time he signals in the plays, he checks his wristband. He hasn't checked out of this game mentally. He's just a sophomore. He's taking every opportunity to continue to learn here. That's pretty impressive, 55-14.
Sure is.
That's what you would expect from him. I mean, it's very difficult to find anything negative to say about him. Jakubowski knocked off his pins and will lose a couple of yards. Fox made the tackle.
Well, the other thing that shows you about Jake Locker is that this is his football team. I mean, yeah, he's out of the game and the game is out of hand, but he is still unquestionably the main leader of this football team, even though he's a sophomore. So for him to check out and go sit on the bench and fool around and put a baseball hat on backwards or anything like that would send a bad message to the rest of his team. And what he's sending to his team right now is, you know what, we'll be all right. We'll get back to work on Sunday and Monday, and we'll come back and we'll get after it again, have this week off, and try to turn this thing around.
Fouch goes for the end zone, underthrows, nearly picked off. It went right through the hands of Desmond Jackson, had a chance for the pick and couldn't haul it in.
The week off will be good for Washington as well before they play Stanford. Again, you're talking about such young skill guys. I mean, Goodwin is a sophomore. Everybody else is a freshman. Your key wide receivers. You have a very talented tight end and Cavario Middleton, who's a true freshman. David Freeman, your tailback, is a freshman. And you just got to get those guys as much work as you can, and that extra week will help them with that.
3rd and 16. Fouch. Blitz comes and they got him. The sack made by Keenan Clayton, who is the #1 weak side linebacker. He's still in there. Clayton has gone back and forth during his career between safety and linebacker.
Well, ironically, 2 years ago, he was the starting safety. And the first play of the game against Washington, he gave up a big play for a touchdown. He was taken out of the game, eventually demoted. And at the end of that season, they switched him to linebacker. And he kind of resisted it at first, wasn't sure he wanted to stay at Oklahoma. But it actually worked out great because he's got the speed of a safety and he hits like a linebacker.
Field goal attempt by Ballman is wide. Been a frustrating night for Washington. A special guest with Holly Rowe when we come back. Stay with us.
Hey, Chad's phone. Chad doesn't have AT&T, which means no bars here in Spain. So I guess we won't be.
On top of the Huskies here in Seattle, 55-14. Things have not gone well in Seattle lately. The bowl games stretch is all the way back to 2002 for the Huskies. The Mariners will miss the postseason again, 7 straight. The Seahawks, it looked ugly against the Bills, and they have all sorts of wide receiver concerns with injuries. And you know about the Sonics. They're not here. They're in Oklahoma City where they've sold out all their season tickets, and people here really bitter about losing their former championship NBA team. This was a rather noisy place about 3 hours ago, but not anymore. You can hear a purple jersey drop. Halsley at quarterback. Gives it off to Justin Johnson, the young man out of Gilmer, Texas, who's a freshman. Reese Davis, let's check in with you.
All right, Mike, I want to show you what's going on in the family of networks. USC is just crushing Ohio State. A lot of time left, and they're up 35-3, threatening to score again. Sanchez had a huge day. He's thrown 4 touchdown passes. And over on ESPN2, Wisconsin and Fresno State late in the first quarter. Fresno just turned it over. Wisconsin's got it in Bulldog territory. That one's worth staying up late for. I'd stay up and watch that on ESPN2.
That a baby, Reese. Oklahoma just working on the clock here. There's a first down and a monster hit by Nate Williams. Holy cow, what a shot. Let's check in with Holly Rowe.
Well, I'm with the Big 12 Commissioner, Dan Beebe, and last year was such a great season for the Big 12. How would you describe what that did for your conference nationally?
Well, it was terrific. I mean, we had 4 teams in the top 10 in football, twice as many as any other conference in the country. Won the national championship in men's basketball. #1 conference in the nation in women's basketball. Had great success in spring sports, so it was a great year, a great way for me to start off my tenure. But, you know, sometimes that's a little bit fearful because maybe it only goes down from there.
Better lucky than good, right? But we had a tough game this week. Kansas, South Florida, what was that all about?
Well, that was so hard to watch when Reeson did such a great job, brought his team back, and then had that tough interception at the end. Kansas is going to be a great team. They really play hard. They come at it all the time.
How would you evaluate this Oklahoma team from what you've seen tonight?
It's very strong, too. I don't know. I'd hate to be a coach in our league this year because Missouri, Oklahoma, Nebraska's looking good. Texas Tech is looking great. So we got a lot of great teams going on this year.
All right. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Holly. Appreciate all you do.
Holly, thank you so much. Mr. Commissioner, thank you. And it certainly has been a couple of banner years for your conference. Sports Center is coming up when we're done here. The clock is running. Only 33 seconds to go, and you have to take your hat off to to the Sooners. They have just been magnificent in every department. Going to be pretty tough for Bob Stoops to come out of this one and say, guys, we did all this stuff wrong that we got to work on. They didn't do anything wrong.
No, they were very solid, and they wanted to play well on the road, and they did. From the very beginning, there was no sloppy moments in this game for the Oklahoma Sooners on either side of the football.
And this was the 100th victory at Oklahoma for Bob Stoops. That makes Oklahoma the only school that has ever had 4 coaches win 100 games. The final score, Oklahoma 55, Washington 14. Coming up next on ESPN Sports Center for a wrap-up of this game. Catch us on ESPN News. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For Todd Blackledge, Holly Rowe, and our entire ESPN crew, this is Mike Patrick. Thanks for watching, and good night from Seattle.
Start this season against the Chicago White Sox, making his 32nd start overall. When he's on, he'll throw strikes, make him hit that sinking fastball.
And there's the outside corner, 2-1.
Saw a little movement on there. That's a good sign from Blackburn. He needs movement. He's all about control and relying on movement.
Down low, 3-1. Blackburn, who's coming off a start where he lasted just an inning and a third and gave up 6 earned runs against the Rays. Now facing the leadoff hitter and falling behind, 3-1. And a walk puts Wise aboard to start the ball game. Menard's batting order for the White Sox in game 2 were held in check last night until Ken Griffey Jr. hit a 2-run home run. Great numbers, first as a Mariner, and now with the back in the American League with the White Sox. Wise, Cabrera, Dye, Tommy, Canerco, Griffey, and then Ramirez, Pierzynski, Uribe.
Let's take a look at the treasure on the scouting report on Nick Blackburn. Now that walk right there, he's averaging 1.7 walks per 9 innings. So unusual start for Blackburn. In his first success, his first season here, he's 7-3 at the Dome with a 2.9 ERA. And I mentioned before, relies on good movement, 28 double plays turned behind him. Both these starters here tonight rely on ground ball outs.
Cabrera hitting the leadoff spot last night, dropping down to second. Burley hoping that his teammates can give him some early run support. And Baker early in the game last night was aided by an early double play grounder off the bat of Griffey. Bouncer to short. And there you go. 2 down, and let's check out the Twins in the field, already responsible for a couple of outs. Northland Ford defense has Brendan Harris at third, Punto and Casilla up the middle, Morneau at first, Young, Gomez, and Span in the outfield, and Mauer back behind the plate.
Oh, exactly what Blackburn needed. His 29th double play turned behind him. Mark Burley, now he's tied with Mark Burley. Both have 29 double plays turned behind them, so these guys rely on their defense.
Here's Jermaine Dye with the bases empty. Breaking ball down and away. Dye hitless last night until the 9th inning when Griffey hit, as far as the game, a meaningless home run. The Twins held the White Sox to 5 singles. Down the middle, 1-1.
Yeah, Dye coming into this series not real hot. Only 3 hits in his last 23 at-bats. Just a 130 batting average over his last 6 games played. But still all that power. 32 home runs on the year.
Little pop up. Casilla in right field. Ends the inning. Blackburn with an opening walk. Faces just 3 men in the inning and throws a total of 10 pitches.
We may not play in the biggest market in baseball, but more than 2 million of you came out this season to cheer us on. We may not be the most famous team in the game,
but your enthusiasm made us all feel like superstars. We may not be a nation,
but we are a territory.
With the best fans anywhere. We may not always have the opportunity to say thank you,
but we appreciate you more than you know.
Thank you. Thank you. Gracias.
Thank you, Twins fans, from all of us to all of you.
Nissan set out to create the perfect on-road vehicle, and in the process, created a category. Introducing 2 crossover leaders from Nissan. The redesigned Murano, awarded as an IIHS top safety pick, and the versatile Rogue, named 2008's best new small crossover. Lease the 27 MPG Nissan Rogue, just $229 a month. Don't follow the leader, own one. At your Nissan dealer now.
Menards is your one-stop shop for all your needs. Superglass 25-year IKO shingles have a traditional 3-tab design, only $17.99 a bundle. Or step up to 35-year Biltmore laminated architectural shingles, only $23.99 a bundle. Finish the job with Newtown vinyl siding. It features a natural wood grain look and never needs painting. Double 4-inch starts at $385 a piece. Double 5-inch starts at $498 a piece. Menards, dedicated to service and quality.
Save big money at Menards.
An encouraging start for Nick Blackburn, who faced just 3 men in the inning. The Menards batting order for the Twins in Game 2. Carlos Gomez with feet up. He's not going to hit till 9th. Great numbers against Mark Burley. Span, Casilla, Bauer, Morneau, Kubel, Young. The only change at third base where Harris is in. Punto at short. Gomez in center hitting 9th.
Let's take a look at the Trev Sky Report on left-handed pitcher Mark Burley, making his 33rd start of the year and his 4th against the Twins. Having a very good month of September. In 4 starts so far in September, he's 3-0 with a 2.13 ERA. And this guy likes to move quick on the mound. Quick delivery. Also very good move to first. He'll cut down the running game of the Twins.
Span takes a strike, 1-1. Span and Casilla held off the bases last night. Each player 0 for 5. Foul back. And it's 1-2. Span in, of course, Mauer and Morneau in, and Kubel in part 4 left-handed batters because Burley has been easier to solve from the left side of the plate than the right. Left-handers hitting .309 against him. Right-handers hitting .267.
Hey, he's given up 21 home runs, 6 to lefties, 15 to righties.
2-2. And Span, of course, has handled left-handed pitching well ever since he was called up. 3-2. Span hitting .287 against lefties with half his home runs against them. Casilla will hit right-handed. And Span draws an opening walk. Where the White Sox did not bunt in Cabrera's at bat, we'll see if the Twins do here against this Northland Ford defense. Juan Uribe in at third for the injured Joe Crede. Cabrera, Ramirez up the middle. Konerko at first. Wise in left. Griffey in center. Dye in right. And Jarzynski back behind the plate.
Well, both starters excellent control. Both starters walked that leadoff hitter. It didn't hurt Blackburn. Hopefully it'll hurt Mark Burley here.
Casilla bunts it foul. 1 strike. Casilla on the season leading the team by far in sacrifice bunts. He's got a dozen.
Yeah, 11 of them coming as a left-handed hitter, only 1 as a right-handed hitter. He tried to take that ball with him. If it's a sacrifice, square around and give yourself up. And we'll see how you see how the defense is playing. Uribe playing in, looking for the butt.
Oh, came up and in, and Casilla fouled it.
Well, believe it or not, that's where you want to throw it in a bunting situation. Casilla, you want to go up, and Casilla, almost a defensive type of kind of watch out, and the ball ends up hitting his bat.
Not for the bat, it might have hit him in the chin. Span second in the sacrifice bunts. 2 quick strikes here to Casilla. And he fights it off down the right field line. Asked Casilla today how his thumb feels. The person was feared at one time that his right thumb partially torn ligament, would lose him for the season for the Twins. So he doesn't even think about it anymore. It's completely healed, and it's been weeks since he's given it any thought at all. That's down the right field line. Down for a hit. Span around second, on his way to third, and Casilla unable to sacrifice, instead single Span over to third.
Well, we saw it in yesterday's ball game. The Twins got a lot of breaks. Delman Young hitting the ball almost like this, even though it was a little bit higher. Casilla just an inside-out swing, more of a defensive swing, and that ball finding the spot down that right field line. Span, good read right there as Dye gets it back in. He knows Dye's playing, right there. He sees Dye cannot catch it, so he alertly goes over to third. That, again, that's the speed of the Twins, where the White Sox, they don't have the speed that the Twins have.
And now Mauer with the Twins threatening in the first inning. Ian with some words to his bench coach, Joey Cora. Mauer 1 for 4 last night. A 5-point lead in the batting race beginning play today. And he takes a strike on the outside corner.
Oh, Joe Mauer just 4 for 18 lifetime against Mark Burley, a .222 hitter. The defense will give up a run as the infield is playing back, looking for the double play.
One strike to Mauer. He came inside, a foul, strike 2.
Burley will average about 5.5, 6 strikeouts per 9 innings, 131 strikeouts in 204 innings pitched. And you see Joe Mauer leading Dustin Pedroia by 5 points in the batting title.
Milton Bradley with a couple of hits this afternoon, up to 324. 2 strikes to Mauer. And inside, 1 and 2.
Burley in his 9th season with the Chicago White Sox, 3-time American League All-Star. Nobody's pitched more innings than Mark Burley since 2001. The guy has considered today's game a workhorse.
And Casilla flushed back to the bag.
Yeah, Burley, very good move to first base. He's picked off 6 already this year and 58 over his career.
Mauer chops it towards second. Close play at second. Span scores in a very close play at second base. Ramirez with a soft backhanded flip to Cabrera. Mauer gets a run batted in, and the Twins take the first lead.
Joe Mauer driving in his 80th run of the year. The Twins take a 1-0 lead. Casilla hustling. You see Ramirez with that backhanded flip, and Cabrera right there like a first baseman grabbing it before Casilla could get to the bag for the force out.
And now Morneau. And with every at-bat, the fans chanting MVP. 1 strike. This week, of course, critical to the Twins' postseason chances. Secondarily, important to Morneau's MVP candidacy. Missing inside, 1-1. Of course, the balloting is yet to take place, but wouldn't you think that if the Twins fight their way through this weekend to postseason play, that he will be the league's MVP?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Lifted to left center field, fairly deep. Wise under it for the catch and out number 2. Mauer bluffs a tag and goes about a third of the way, 2 down. So Burley's leadoff walk comes back to haunt him. 2 outs, a run in, and here's Kubel. As Kelly Hughes detailed, Kubel's been a real pain in Ozzie Guillen's neck with 6 home runs this year, but it goes beyond this year. It's one of the best banners I've seen in a long time. The only prescription is more, not cowbell, but Kubel. And he takes low, ball one. Jason Kubel has 43 Major League home runs, and 13 of them against the White Sox.
Now, he has never faced Mark Buehrle, believe it or not, through all the meetings that Buehrle has had against the Twins. This is his first at-bat against Buehrle.
1-1. Of course, the Brewers with 5, but the Twins only face them 6 games a year. And of course, that means that Michael Kadire will again tonight start the game on the bench. 1-1 to the Twins' designated hitter. Fastball off the plate, 2-1. Last night, Ozzie Guillen's team took the first lead. Kubel takes inside, 3-1 with Delman Young on deck.
Well, Buehrle making his 33rd start, his 17th on the road. He's 4-8 on the road with an ERA over 5, where he's won 10 of his 14 games in Chicago.
Kubel takes the walk. First and second, 2 down for Delman Young. Second walk of the inning. And really all the Twins have to show for offense here in this first inning is Casillas' bloop single down the right field line. Young cranked a home run, number 10 on the season last night. 5 for 15 against Buehrle. Fouled away, 1 strike.